What's up, ladies and gents? My name is Deeg. We're here basement side with Aeflic, the undisputed anchor god of Planetside 2. Welcome, Aeflic. Introduce yourself to the fine folks.
I'm just a Planetside 2 player that's been playing for too long. Not much of an introduction, just like games, I like hanging out, like talking to people. This whole podcast, YouTube, streaming's new world, and it's just exciting and fun to interact with the community.
Yeah, I love it. Uh,
Yeah, it's unique and it's different. So for me, I haven't really got into it until recently. I mean, I've been streaming for a little bit, but
what have you been up to recently? What's changed?
I have a 13-month-old. We bought a
That's
home.
dope.
COVID. I think there's one other thing in there. But those things have kinda, like, tied me down a little bit more to be a little like, I can't just go out to the bar every night if I want to, type of
Word.
thing, so, and then obviously, I mean, I have things like a work and whatnot, career, I guess, in addition to that, so it's slowed my life down
Mm-hmm.
considerably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And does that have you engaging more or less with games and streaming?
For a while, like, I literally, like, I have a nice PC, like, I wasn't even, like, touching it
Mm.
besides for maybe, like, work or, like, YouTube videos, and then, like I said, things slowed down, house, kid, job. I kind of picked it back up to supplement that. Like I'm not going out, like I said, every like 3 times a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to. I like people. I like interacting with people. That's why I started streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like that's where I get my energy from. That's how I relax. That's how I engage. It's things that I want to do is with other people. Um, and so that was a good supplement to some of those restrictions, especially when things started shutting down. And I was like, okay, what can we do? Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like a way of getting away when we couldn't even like go somewhere as a family or something. So
Right. So did you stream before the pandemic?
yeah, I did, and I took a couple breaks, obviously when my son was born,
Mhm.
um, and then just burnout. I was talking about
Okay.
that on the stream earlier. Is just kind of like a weird. Like I could literally stream today and like love it and like had the best time. Like maybe I had like a PR and like viewership or subs or something like weird like that, and then
Yeah.
the next day it's just like I don't want to do it. Like it just comes out of nowhere. It kind of sneaks up behind you because um, that's how burnout is. I think with a lot of things, you don't really feel it building up, and then yeah, boom, you take a break or maybe play a different game. You don't want to stream it or something like that. So
Yeah.
um, I've definitely taken like 9 month breaks before, and I'm trying
Mhm.
to be a little bit more consistent with it because it's just annoying to have that drop off and then try to rebuild and start back over. So.
Mhm. Do you feel pressure from your streaming community to hop on the stream and keep being there for them?
Yeah, but like not from them,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like I'm just like I'm not an extremist, but I mean like with like the anchor, right? Like I find something I like and then I usually overdo it. If I find something that's funny, like I'll just like in my real life, I'll just say it for like a month straight. I'll just kill
Uh-huh.
it off. Even for myself. I'm like, wow, I'm actually
You
I'm
wear it
getting
out.
annoying. Yeah, and so like something like stream, like I feel like which has been a pain point, but it's like okay, I need to be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, no, you don't.
Mhm.
It's like calm down. Like that more is not always better.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, that's just how I feel about it. Like and then if someone else is doing it, I was like, okay, maybe I should be or if no one's streaming, it's like, okay, like what are people gonna watch? It's like, probably not you because it's Planetside. So
Oof.
but no, I definitely have that pressure. I mean, it's just, I mean, with the low amount of views that we have, but
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
no, I definitely have that. But that's just with work or whatever I do. I just want to succeed or do well, or
Mhm.
yeah, or be there for people. I guess
Sure.
it's kind of like FOMO, I guess, right? Like if all my friends are going out and I'm sick, or all my friends are going out and I'm stuck somewhere else, or I'm busy with work or something. It's kind of like I feel the need to like be a part of it. So, and then obviously gaming's always going on, so it's like it's a toughie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always there for you.
Very true.
Okay. Okay. So how many kills did it take exactly for you to get that golden anchor? And maybe tell the story of the golden anchor, which seems like it's an example of this tendency that you say you have to really double down on stuff.
I'm going to probably. I might. We'll see. I'm probably gonna go too deep with it, and then I'm gonna lose my train of thought. So you're gonna have to like bring me back to the original question.
I'll keep you on track.
Maybe I'm gonna try to do this.
Okay. The
And we
story
have
of the golden anchor. Yes.
right. I think we have different communities. I've talked about it before on my stream and whatnot, and then on YouTube. But
Yeah.
we'll revisit it. Number one thing is for me to continue doing something like Planetside for 8 years and to not get the content that I necessarily want or like or enjoy, and to get
Mm,
content that I think is devastating or hindering or less fun to what I enjoy until I get used to it. I need like other things, right, to keep me like occupied. I'm not a
mhm,
directives guy. I find something that I like that's good, I'm going to use it. So um, that's part of the reason I set like a long term goal, right? That I can't achieve in a month. So I'm slowly grinding towards something. That being said, I don't even know how long ago it was, but Gilly, I think it was BMF, Gilly BMF.
mhm,
I don't even know what server he was on. He played Vanu. Um, at the time, he was like one of the top farmers, one of the best players in the game. And he did like everything. He would be in the max, a tank, PPA, but he was also like really good at infantry.
mhm,
And I think he got the first 100,000 kills maybe in the game on a
mhm.
weapon. And they gave him a gold, I think it was SVA
Right, I
88. I
remember
think it's
that.
the weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so once I started like looking around, I was like, nobody else really has gotten 200,000 kills. And I might like somebody maybe has it was like a rocket pods or something like that, but like infantry sanctioned.
Mhm,
Nobody else had
mhm.
really gotten there. People were close. Maybe somebody had it with a Sasser or the stats were broken on it. I couldn't remember. And I was like, Sasser's a bolt. I was like, that doesn't really count either. I was like, let me try just to go for it.
Mhm.
And so another friend of mine that was actually in the game, Helix 320, we were both kind of competing for 100,000 anchor kills.
Okay.
And I think Kabai was also up there from TIW.
Okay.
And so the three of us were kind of like just slowly grinding for it. And then they kind of dropped off or stopped playing. Go ahead.
I say it's cool to have someone to compete against. It's sad they
Well,
dropped
again,
out.
it just it keeps you engaged,
Yeah.
right? It keeps you distracted from like doing something over. It's like an MMO. Like, do you want how many?
Oh,
I
yeah.
hate kiting mobs around and around and around. That's why I don't do a lot of MMOs. Even though Planetside does feel like that sometimes. It's just different.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, got to 100,000, and then everyone was kind of like, "Oh, you should ask Rel for a gold anchor."
Mhm.
And so like we kind of like were memeing about it, and then I think Rel was kind of like, not gonna happen type of thing. And then I was kind of thinking about, I was like, I think Gilly got it like 2, 3, 4 years before me. I was like, so that was special back then. I was like, what's so special about 100,000 now?
Mhm.
Like even like the worst players eventually gonna like maybe get up to like something like that, right? Not the worst, but you know what I'm saying? Like people are just gonna slowly get up there. And so I was like, okay, I need to go for like 200,000. I need to do something that no one else has done before.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, this is crazy because I'm gonna double what I have right now. And it took me forever to get that because I wasn't at like a good tier of play at the time, which I think led me to getting better at infantry in the game. Long story short, though, again, we grinded that out for a long time, took breaks in between, but finally we hit 200,000. Huge achievement. I think I was actually streaming at that time. We got it.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, like let's hit up Rel. And it was like, I think it was like a radio silence, man. He's a tough guy to get in contact with. Um, And then, I mean, I don't know if we just kind of spammed him with it or what. And it was kind of still like, we don't really do that anymore. I think I DM'd him or something like that. And he's kind of like, we don't have anybody working on that, or we don't really do that stuff anymore. And I was like, okay, that is kind of like super specific. Like for one person, we're gonna do this thing.
Mhm.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll go for 300,000, bro. We'll just grind. We'll just grind it till we get it. We'll just have to do something so crazy. And I got to 221,000, whatever change. And like Relic warped me on Emerald. I didn't even know who it was. I thought some dude was hacking. And he's like, check your inventory or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sick.
That's hype.
Um, it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. And then I felt it was just cool. It was just cool to have something like that in the game. Um, so that is, I guess, the story of the Golden Anchor. And then what's crazy though is I was so okay. Let me back up real quick. So I think I kind of was like, we'll go for 300,000, and then I was like, let me kind of also, because I think Mentis actually had already hit 200,000 on the SAR, which okay, it's a bolt, whatever. Again, so I
Mhm.
was like,
Mhm.
okay, I guess I wasn't the
Different
first
kind
one
of
to have
weapon.
200,000, so I was
Right.
like, maybe if I'm the first one to 300,000, I can. And he was like 50,000, 60,000 in front of me. He had like
Uh-huh.
250, 260,000 kills on the weapon. I was like, maybe I like looking at his stats. Like maybe I can outpace him because I'm a better player,
Mhm.
KPM wise. And I was like, maybe I can beat him even though he's so far ahead of me. And I was like, then if I got 300,000, maybe I can get a gold anchor. So I was grinding, but I was already committed to this. And once I commit to something, it's very hard for me to stop. So when I got this anchor at 221,000, I was kind of like broken. I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't bitch and complain about a gold anchor. Get a gold anchor, but I don't even want to use it because I'm already at 221,000. They said they're not going to combine the kills. They're like, well, no, we're not going to do that.
Ah, sad.
I was
Probably hard
like,
to
so
do.
I think I
Yeah.
literally got it, used it for a little bit, and then I quit. I think I went to Tarkov for like 9 months, and then I came back and I grinded. I was like, I'll just get 100,000 on this. So I grinded like 56,000, and then somebody convinced me to use the Gauss saw, and now we're just gonna go for #1 Gauss saw. So
That's badass. So Rel's in the chat. He says he made it because he was bored and because you're an okay dude.
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
There you go.
I
There you
appreciate
go.
that.
Nice to get the
Yo, Lex,
shout out.
go easy on us, bro. Go easy on us, bro. Relax, dude.
Rel will
Relax.
be easy on us. He loves us.
No, I mean Lex, bro. We gotta watch out for Lex, dude. He said
Oh,
he's gonna review
Lex.
it.
Yeah. Scary Lex. Yeah. Okay. So
Only with the thumbs, bro. I ain't worried about him IRL. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sorry,
only on
sorry.
Araxis.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Um. Okay. So 221,000, then 56,000, then 100,000. Or sorry, you were going for 100,000 with the gold anchor, and then you moved on to the saw. Is this like bummed anybody out? Like, I feel like this is like a momentous choice to move on from the anchor. Did it feel like a big deal to you, or
Yeah, man, it was tough, dude. It was tough, but then like
what makes the
everyone's
anchor
like,
so
dude.
great? Maybe I should ask that first. Like, what's so great about the anchor?
Well, a couple things is I had already like I was not at like a good, wasn't like top 50, top 100, whatever you want to say, like players when I got
Of
hit
all infantry
100,000.
players, right?
But I had already grinded that out, so I was like, well, I might as well continue. Then I was at 200, and then now I'm at 221. So I was like, there's no reason. Like it was my brand. Like I have an anchor on my Twitch. Like I'm an
Yeah,
anchor god on my description. A bunch of lame,
yeah.
cringy stuff on
That's
my
your
in my
icon.
Twitch.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm stuck with it. I was like, hopefully they don't nerf it, because then like, what am I gonna do?
Uh huh.
And then obviously we're grinding for the gold anchor, and like the first shot multiplier on it is scuffed and it feels very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And me being an idiot, and I told you before, I don't go like in depth and like test out new weapons and do all this stuff. I just find something I like and I just go with it. And I was getting like
Uh,
really good stats.
so you were
Okay, it
like
wasn't like,
ordering your usual every time you showed up, and just
yeah, I was
weren't
like,
trying anything new.
I'm performing well with it.
Yeah.
So like, why would I change it? But then finally, like, they're like, you should try it, you should try it, you should try it. And maybe somebody downloaded to me or something, and so I think we used it. And I was like, I realized like I could snipe people off turrets consistently
Mm-hmm.
way easier with the saw.
Uh
I was
huh.
like, wait, why it's so hard with the anchor? And the hitbox is scuffed on it, okay? It's scuffed. We know that. We
Uh
know
huh.
it's scuffed on the turret. But it was way
Yes.
easier with the saw. I'm like, wait, this gun is 200 damage, 100 rounds. I was like, why is it somehow easier to use this? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. Like, there
Yeah.
should be a drawback to it.
Has
The
a
anchor
bigger
has
damage model, huge mag.
yeah,
It should be harder to handle, right?
right. And I'm like, the anchor has shitty reload, right? But so does the Gauss saw, so like that kind of cancels out. It's obviously a little bit longer on the saw.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, it doesn't have advanced laser sight, but it doesn't matter. Like, you can still dunk on people
You're
without the
heavy
advanced
assault.
laser sight.
You're
So
ADSing most of the time anyway, right?
right. Well, yes and no. There's still so many. I try to put myself when you. Everyone's like, oh, it's like you're clipping seals. But I try to put myself in difficult situations, or just try to like try to go for 3v1s or whatever. And I'm always holding shift and W. I'm just aggressive,
Got it. Yeah.
and
Okay.
so a lot of hip fire.
So you're up close to in the hip fire, which incentivizes the laser sight, but that's not on the
Right.
saw, huh?
Well, it doesn't have the advanced lasers that the anchor does,
Oh, okay. Yeah, which is
but
better
it
than the
still
other one.
feels great. It still feels great, and I was like, okay, like I'm like everything the anchor is good at, the saw can do, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
At least on live. I haven't really tested it in like a tournament, competitive 66, whatever.
Okay.
Um, and so I realized that like I was getting even better stats with the saw. Like I'm able to like climb quicker, like towards whatever goal I want to do. So I was like, this will be easier to get to 100,000 kills with, for
Mm-hmm.
instance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I was able to go on like on longer streaks with it, and like stuff I couldn't do with the anchor before.
Okay.
Um,
That big
yeah,
mag
the saw,
probably helps.
for sure, and that's something that I ran into, when you're always holding Shift W. It's kind of a meme. I don't always do that, but I'm always pushing. I feel like
Mhm.
with 50 rounds and the inconsistencies of the first shot multiplier, like missing some shots and whatnot, I feel like 4 or 5 streak is like decent. Obviously, you can push that beyond that if you're in a good scenario. But like with Planetside, I mean, it's not like it's a 6v6, right? Unless you're in a competitive Planetside. So you could easily string out 10 people in a row that are coming from like a center or something, right? And like the anchor, you'd have to reload, and that reload time is so long that it didn't pan out very well. But the saw, it's like 100 rounds. You can cut through that 10, 11 people consistently, maybe even more. And then usually at that point, like, you're in a good spot. You've taken out enough people to where you have a chance to reload or take a break, or people have caught up to you or something like that. So it just pans out way better.
Mhm.
And
So for
I mean, I
those of
can't
y'all
deny
who
the play.
just
Go
jump
ahead.
in real quick, for those of you who are watching live, we are having a little bit of ISP problems. So thanks for bearing with us and sorry about that. Uh, the VOD on YouTube will look great. I can comfortably assure you. But yeah, sorry about that.
What's going on? Is this grainy?
Oh no, my bit rate is like 500. And it should be like 6K. My
Oh
ISP
my
is
goodness,
just
bro.
dropped me off a cliff for some reason. So it is what it is. But
Can't
yeah,
win them all.
exactly. That disclaimer out of the way, though. Okay, so Anchor is great. Saw is great.
Greater,
So
better.
yeah, does this? And I immediately heard you say, "Oh, so I'll go for 100K in this." Like it's just like that's the obvious conclusion that I hear you making. I feel like there aren't a lot of Planetside players who would look at something like this and say, "Oh, I'll get 100,000 kills," or I have this new thing. I'm going to make some self-driven goal out of it that is an insanely hard reach. What do you think it is that drives you to go for those goals?
And just a personality thing. Like, I mean, that's why I like competitive Planetside. I know it's a meme. It's cringy. Some people, it's not Planetside. Don't. Why are you
Well,
making
let's
it
talk about
competitive?
that. Let's talk about that. What competitive planet side? When you say
But well,
competitive
hold on. Let
planet
me
side, go ahead.
let me roll back to your first question.
I
That's just a personality trait. I'm just competitive in general, and I
Yep.
used to, when I was younger. My dad and my brother were ultra competitive.
Okay.
My brother used to lock me outside the house, like forcing me to fight him with like sticks. He's 4 years older. Obviously, that didn't pan out very well for me. So I wasn't like super competitive early on, and then
Boys.
as I've gotten older, I've gotten more and more competitive, almost like a fault, where I'm like aware of it now. I'm like, ugh, I need to tone it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like like I said, when I was working at FedEx, when I was in college, just part time, just have cash. Um, like sorting boxes, I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna be the best person that sorts boxes, and I want to like keep up in my numbers here. Like I don't get more money for it, but I
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
like to. It makes like the job more interesting, right? So like after playing PlanetSide for 8 years, and like Indar is Indar, and then
Mm-hmm.
when the pops were really low, it was like 99% of the fights were at TI alloys because there wasn't enough pop to open up the continent, and there was
Mm-hmm.
like a bug for like a long time where it just never opened up, and we were just grinding out like the same base over and over again. And like it's nice to have a goal, faraway goal. It's like, okay, you're slowly grinding towards something in this meaningless environment of nothing, right? Which is also why we started streaming, because I was like, if I'm reading Twitch chat and I die, I don't really care. I know what I can do effectively, and if my stats go a little bit down, like who cares about stats in 2020? But I was like, I
Sure.
can do something while playing the game that like kind of distracts me from it, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. But like not really. Like it's just like I can do two things at once, which makes the experience of PlanetSide better.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 8 years is a long time to do anything. A lot of people just move on. There's like the meme in our TeamSpeak is, "What's the game of the week?" If I find something I enjoy, I just stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, if you're still playing PlanetSide too," it's like, yeah, yeah, dude. Like I know, but like I can't. That's why I went for 200,000 anchor kills. Right? I find
Mm-hmm.
something I like, and I stick with it. So, which again, like in real life, sometimes it sucks because it's hard to like leave a job that I feel loyal to, but they're not loyal to me. If that makes sense. And it's like, why
Yes.
am I here? So it's really hard for me to like leave or quit, and like it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But
You really like to commit to something and
yeah,
really explore the entire thing like all the way through. It sounds like
yeah, I
really
struggle
try to
playing games.
push the limit as far as you can.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, like I enjoy it. Like once I find something I enjoy, like I used to hate playing games with my brother. We found a game like way back in the day in MMO, and like we grinded that hard. That's like the only MMO I really ever played, like for a long time.
What was it?
That was a lot of fun. Risk Your Life,
Oh, okay.
small community. Like I think it was like on a private server, like it was dead or something. But we really enjoyed that. But then like it was kind of like we were just kind of skipping around from game to game. Like I would find a game I like, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, we're not playing that anymore." I'm like, I was like, okay, I guess I'll just quit. I'll just delete my character. Like, I
Yeah,
guess
screw me, I guess. Yeah.
so I'm almost not like I'm attached to it because that sounds like a really weird, clingy word, but like I was almost like attached to like what I was doing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave this, I guess. And then like we'd go to something else. I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like, this is a lot of fun. And it's like I start grinding for it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's like it's like that with Madden. Like my friends that play on console,
Yeah.
man, dude,
Madden,
like
huh?
every year it comes out. So it's Madden, then it's NBA 2K, and then it's
Yeah, the way
the
sports
show.
games, they have annual releases where they update
Yeah,
players and stuff like that, right?
but now it's like they can only play a game for like 3 months, and it's like they're like grinding out like Madden, like the cards, whatever. I can't remember the thing. And like, okay, I was like, I'll help you out on board. I'll just play some of these things for you. It's like I'm grinding it, and then like, oh, we don't play that anymore. We're on to 2K. I was like, why did I just grind that for you? That was the dumbest thing in my life. Like you guys just are so committed, and then just uproot and like move on to the next thing.
Mhm.
And it's like I don't know, it's just a weird. It's
Hmm.
very ultra different from like what I like to do with stuff. So um, sorry, we went down on a tangent there. So
No, that's a good one. It yeah, and it makes sense for a guy who can pound out 100, multiple hundreds of thousands of kills with one weapon in one game, that you would be maybe having a personality type that is really attracted towards. Um, I don't even know what the right way to encapsulate it, but I can imagine that trait plays out in a lot of interesting ways in your life.
yeah, for sure. It's like a loyalty thing in a way. Like
Mhm.
I mean, faction loyalty is a meme in and of itself.
In Planetside,
But
yeah.
yeah, like there's no point in being in an outfit. Okay, there really isn't. At the end of the day, it's all self-driven. I realized this for some reason. It took me 7 years to realize that like
Hmm.
you don't get a benefit from being in an outfit.
Hmm.
You don't get anything, right? There's not something that you're like you can't get X. There's no progression. It's not like you're just in this outfit and like yeah, maybe you have access to like leadership or whatever. Someone's like
Yeah.
helping train you, but there's nothing that like you're given, right? That like is a bonus essentially to kind of draw you into it, which would be nice to have, or outfit progression. Another topic. Um,
Okay.
but I totally lost my train of thought.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I guess that in Planetside they're trying to put in stuff that gives
Yeah, no,
outfit
I'm
payouts
content
for
with where they're
outfits,
going with it.
right? And not everyone's down with stuff, that kind of stuff. Like Bastions, great example. Outfit
Right.
Wars in whatever state it's in now. I think that's a bit of a question mark.
That's
Uh,
good. I mean, the idea right now is it's going to be revamped, right? It's almost like
yeah.
which we knew was going to happen. At least that's what in my brain. I was like, okay, we know this is going to happen. PTS is the worst way to test things. We try to test things on it, and the community always talks about how we get feedback and the devs don't listen. I think it's gotten a little bit better,
Mhm.
but it's hard to test live in a small scale, and then if it works, you ship it off to live, and it fails on live, right? Because it's just so different.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the way that they released Outfit Wars was good or the right way to do it. And they did listen to feedback more than I think they have in the past. But again, it could have gone a lot further. I think they're just like, look, let's just put it on live. There's no point in designing a really cool base
Hmm.
and spend time on it to then say, well, that didn't work. Let's just scrap it. And it's like, well, then that was I don't know how many days it takes to make a base, but it's like wasted time. So
Hmm.
just create this shell, put it on live, and then we can like try to improve it or revamp it from there without spending too much time on it because they don't have a lot of devs or resources.
Hmm.
And like that sucks. But as long as I listen to feedback, maybe we can make something out of it. I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, Outfit Wars is an interesting thing. I was lucky in that I happened to be, I was playing with Bushido Wei, who got invited to the early testing for the pre first season of Outfit Wars, and for me, the main thing that I remember thinking when it came out and when it qualifications were happening, and then the change to qualifications and the actual Outfit War, is I was so pleased that it all worked just technically. And I think that's because I had internally set like a low bar of expectation for the game over the years. Um,
Yeah, it's a sad place to be, man. You don't wanna do that, and I'm almost too hopeful every time, right? There's, like, an updater
right.
stream, and everyone else is, like, dunking on it. I'm like, "Oh, maybe it'll be good," you know? But
It's
no, man,
sad.
it's sad. No, it is sad. It
Yeah.
is, because it is something that we have regardless of where you're at in the game. Zerg fit, Elite fit, don't play the game but still watch streams, hate on the game. Like, we spent time on it, and we do have some passion there and wish
Hmm.
it was better or more.
Hmm.
But people are frustrated, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the game too, but you have to take it as it is. And
Right.
it's kind of I think the thing we're seeing in it is kind of similar to what you see in like kind of like major sequels that get released for like say movies or even
Mm,
games, where a lot of the time the success of the thing that you're releasing today is less related to the quality of what you're doing today and more related to how the last thing you did was received. And it can take a couple of releases before the effects of a bad release are detected sometimes.
mhm,
Like
mhm. That's a good point.
so like Planetside had a maybe it had a huge head of steam through 2012, 2013, 2014, but then eventually people start kind of not seeing the stuff they're hoping to see from it, and the few releases in a row where they don't feel served is enough to say, okay, well, um, this release is not what I wanted, even if it maybe has something they want. That feeling catches up. And I'm not sure, maybe it's less of an individual thing and more of an aggregate thing, but it's something that I've definitely noticed. And I feel like
Yeah, yeah. It's like a
I
bad
was,
relationship, dude.
yeah, and
You get to that point, you're like, "Alright, I'm out."
people have relationships with games.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You
I mean,
love
it's a good
Planetside too. You have a relationship with Planetside too.
yeah. No, but yeah, it's fair, absolutely.
Um,
And some people have a shorter fuse on what it takes to make them quit or leave, or I mean, but it's also been 8 years. It's like it's not like it's 8 months and people are, like, all gone or something, you
mhm,
know? We've been
mhm.
saying dead game for 5 years now. Um, no, but it's I just feel like it's just frustrating because some people, like, see that potential, right? Or take parts of the game where you're like, this could be something,"
Yeah.
and then it's not that, or, you know, that shrinks, right? Like the infantry side of things, but, it's I mean, performance has played the game as well. I mean, if that was an easy fix, I think they would have fixed it, right?
Oh,
I
performance.
mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think what the game's trying to do
updates were
is
shut down literally for how long was OMFG? Like a year, 8 months, 6 months? I don't even know.
it was a good
Um,
chunk of time, like half a year, I
and no
think.
other content, yeah, came out, and it was
Yeah.
like, and then for that to fail, or maybe it didn't fail. Like my thing is, like, even like now, performance is still a thing, right, for people, and to
Hmm.
spend like that amount of time on it, and for like that to kind of drop, and then there's no new content on top of it, it's kind of like, so it's just
Yeah.
frustrating. And then
Yeah. I was watching
and,
an interview with some of the developers of Warframe, um,
hmm,
a game that actually Rel has talked about and compared PlanetSide to at times. And one of the things that the community manager said in that documentary, it was on NoClip, Danny O'Dwyer's YouTube channel. He does fantastic stuff. Um, she said that she gets complaints from their hardcore community about, oh, why can't you just do updates that are focused on fixing X or fixing this? Like, there are things in the game that are broken or not working right and really need to be mended before you can make something new. And her response to that was, well, you can't do that as a live services
right,
game. Just doing fixes and balance and performance stuff will kill your game because you have to keep a constant flow of interest to make the revolving door revolve. People are always going to be
right,
exiting your game. If you're not bringing them in, then you're going to lose people. I thought that was a very interesting
exactly.
insight.
Well, I mean, on my stream, people are like, "Hey, like, why haven't they fixed the decimator bug?" You know, when you shoot decimator, like, and then you go back to your primary weapon, like, you have like a reload bug, like half a second or something. I don't know what the actual breakdown is,
Yeah,
but it can get you killed. It's just very frustrating,
yeah, yeah.
and it's like, I think about like my job. I'm like, if I don't know how to do something, but then I do, then I will then do that to relieve the issue, right? I don't want to be fired. I don't want to lose my job because people aren't playing my game or whatever it is, right? If I know
Hmm.
the issue, I'm going to fix the issue. I'm going to bring it to life.
Hmm.
Or if I fix the issue and it breaks 3 other things, like, well, I can't bring it to life. Like, if your heavy shield doesn't work now because we fixed the decimator bug, that's worse. So you
Hmm.
probably don't want me to put that in the game. And I feel like people just love to complain, right? But people lose sight of that as well. Like, if you can't fix something or you had the answer, we would do it. That's my job. Like that's what I would do. And maybe there's not enough resources for people that are fixing bugs. I don't know. But I
Yeah.
always thought like you got to be like it's their job. Why are you gonna hold the game back? Rail's
Yeah.
holding the game back because he has a decimator bug. He's not gonna put it out. He's waiting for 6 months for the. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. I get
No,
why
well,
it's
it
frustrating. It needs to be fixed because it's broken. There's a bunch of things like that. But
right. Yeah, and those the time needed for those fixes competes with the time and resources needed for everything else that's happening. And
okay, go ahead. I
no,
do want to touch on something though.
game dev is not necessarily a zero sum kind of equation because you can always pull in more resources. You can hire more people, and maybe that increases your budget, but you can then make more money. Like there are always things you can do to apply more effort to a problem. But those decisions I think that one of the tough things in live services games is that the effect of things like those kinds of bugs and balance issues um, that are causing kind of degenerate gameplay disproportionately impact the most vocal members of the communities that play those games.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if it's high priority, if it's something that's breaking the game, it has to be fixed. Obviously ASAP. You got to put everything on, or a large portion of your resources, I guess, to it. Decimated bug isn't the end of the world, so probably isn't up that high on the
right.
priority list. But my issue, I think, with updates in general, and again, I'm not a game dev. I want it to be infantry side 100%.
Yeah.
Um, maybe not that extreme. I don't mind combined arms and whatnot, but it needs the way the domains interact is just bad. We can talk about that later. But
Okay.
um, so I'm obviously biased. I'm not a game dev, but my thing is like it's also not my vision, right? I'm not designing the game, so I
Mhm.
might want X, but again, that's maybe not the vision of the game or the game devs, regardless of how I feel about it or how annoying it is or how much I think it's the stupidest thing ever. That being said, to your point earlier, you can't just do performance updates. You can't just do bug fix updates and keep
Mhm.
people coming in or keep people just like vets around.
Mhm.
But I struggle with, and they've done kind of, but they went ghost for a long time.
Yeah.
But a simple update that is consistent with good gameplay that we already have, right? Like a map.
Mhm.
Okay, I just want somewhere new to go to.
Yeah.
And maybe you take the 8 years of map design that are base design and things that just didn't work or didn't make any sense, and we take that to a new map and we make something. Okay, we're not adding anything new, but we know that we know the infantry gunplay is in a good spot. At least
Mhm.
I think it is.
Mhm.
So let's just put a map out there. That's exciting. When Hassan came out, it was exciting, right? And that's been, I don't know, someone said 5 years, maybe it was three, I can't remember.
Mhm.
But I like the idea of like having releases like this consistently. Okay, we get new guns or whatever it is, but
Twice
I
a
think a
year for
map
big
is
stuff seems to be the
yeah,
new target they're trying to hit.
right. But so back in the day, but my thing is like so instead of that, and then on the side, maybe you do something like construction. You have no idea how construction is going to go. That's a new element, complete new system you're going to bring in, right? Outfit Wars, a new system you're going to bring in. PSA, a different game, but we'll say it's a new system. Like that idea of like these widely offshot ideas that you have no idea how the community is going to react to it, or
Sure.
how that when you say building a base, it's like, oh, okay, that sounds kind of cool, and then you realize like the player base and the community can't even put the walls together like this, right? It's not that hard. Like you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
if you want to do construction, okay, we're working on the side and we'll release it. It fails, doesn't matter. We came out with a cool new map. We know maps work, right? That's easy. Like I mean, the Call of Duty, you just spit out maps.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
talking about essentially the ability of the game to consistently produce updates that actually hit the core experience of the game for
Yes,
most people.
yes. Because my thing is, what we have right now is, let's say, so I went back and forth on my stream on this all the time. So currently, or at least let's just use construction, right? Let's
Mhm.
just say nothing comes out, construction comes out, it flops.
Mhm.
Somebody like me, okay, well, I'm back. I'm still playing the game that was there 6 months ago before construction, right?
Mhm.
Construction flopped. Maybe I interact with construction a little bit, but it's just not. It's not what I think it was intended, or it just didn't get the draw that I think we wanted, or it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have nothing, right? Or Outfit Wars flops, or PSA like actually like is a true flop. Like it was dead on
Yeah, I
arrival,
think
damn near.
PSA is a
Okay,
bit of a different situation. Um,
but it's still something that sucked up resources, and again, it is a different situation. It's a different game.
yeah, yeah. I
But that
mean,
idea of,
yeah.
okay, we come out with a new map. 2 months later, we have construction flops. So I had the new map to slide back to, right? I have
Mhm.
something to slide back to, and they did a couple updates with like new weapons and things, but nothing like a new like. I mean, I guess we had changes to Indar, but that's limiting. You already have a map designed, right? You have bases in place. You can't just you have some limitations there. I guess that's my thing. Is I just want consistent updates, and if we want to do something crazy like construction, see what happens, see what the community thinks. Oh, that was dog shit. Okay, boom,
Yeah, they have to
fall
stick
back to something
together.
else, or they love it.
So like you have this game that you Aeflic, you love. You are setting up these huge goals for yourself to grind out kills. And what's fun for you, and I imagine for a lot of people you play with, is to have more ways to do that. Like more interesting ways, variations, things like that. So maybe that's not a new gun for you because you're kind of a gun grinder. That's kind of your thing, right? But maybe it's new types of bases, new types of combat interactions, infantry versus infantry stuff. Um, so yeah, a new continent would be an enormous content drop for you, and that makes total
Right.
sense to me.
Yeah. Again, this is just my opinion. This is just my obviously. It's just
Yeah,
my thoughts on it. I'm
yeah,
not a game dev. I don't know how long it takes to do things or anything like that. So
sure,
my opinion is limited in the expanse of what designing a game is, or the goal of the game, or where you want the game to go. So
right.
it's a limited angle on
Yeah,
it, but
well,
that
I
is my
mean,
angle.
but your perspective has value because it's shared by a lot of other people. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why
right.
we have these conversations and record them.
Fair.
And so yeah, the speaking to the core of the game, I think that like just taking that idea and maybe putting my own stamp on it. One of the things that I really liked about the escalation release is for me, I felt like that spoke to the core of what I like about Planetside, which is the community aspect of it, playing in the sandbox with people. Um, and I thought that also Outfit Wars, even if it wasn't necessarily in the state that I loved the most, um, I was really excited that they gave a pinnacle activity that only outfits could participate in. Basically, giving a reason for outfits to exist. You know, you made the point a few minutes ago that there has been kind of no point in outfits for a long time. Um, and giving something like that is that doubles down on the reality that Planetside success is based on its community, which is formed of outfits. Um, I mean,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
I think it all hangs together. Uh, what was your so we started talking about outfit wars a little bit back. My general impression is that you're down on it more or less. Is that right?
So I mean, look, man, I'm not everyone's like when it okay.
It's
Let's
going to
there's a
change.
lot
So
to
this is a
unpack
big
here.
disclaimer. Like we don't know what
Well,
it's
let
going to
me
be like at the end of the year or whenever it comes
right,
back.
right. So keep me on track here, but I'm gonna back up a little bit.
All right, all right.
A lot of people that I play with, like, I don't give a shit about capping the base. I don't care if we take indirects. I don't care. I
You
just
just
want
want
to
a
farm
good
players
fight.
there.
A good
Right.
fight is the goal of the infantry side player.
Yeah. But I still like a little bit of teamwork. Alpha, go, Alpha twos to hold. You need to be a medic, or like I did that way back in the day, and I enjoyed that for what it was, and
Uh
I've
huh.
progressed through the game. So I enjoyed being in the Zerg fit, and that's what brought me into the game. Okay, but
Hmm.
that's a different topic. But I enjoy a little bit of teamwork. Self-sufficient players that
Uh
know
huh.
what they're doing, so I don't have to babysit. I've done that. That was annoying. Took a
Yeah.
lot of time, a lot of work. Like self-sufficient players, a little bit of communication. That's why I like Pill, right? The infantry competitive side of
Planetside
things.
Infantry League. We should
Um,
definitely talk more
mhm,
about that.
and we can touch base on that in a second.
Hmm.
Um, I like capping bases. It's a way. It's a way of competing, right?
Yeah.
It's limitations and the pop differences and force multipliers and all that
Well, it's a
aside.
sandbox with 1,100
Yeah,
players. Like, I mean,
but it's nice to take a base with 40% pop or 30% pop against
yeah,
against all odds, and other we have no maxes, but they have maxes, and it's just kind of like a nice thing, right? A
that's
cherry
the
on top.
dream. Beating
Yeah,
numbers
and
with
so
skill.
I like that aspect of the game.
Hmm.
Okay, in a more narrow field now.
Hmm.
I still enjoy that. A lot of pillars I play with don't. It's some people think it's cringy or whatever, but I still enjoy that. And so with something like Outfit Wars, which I have talked about for a very long time, outfits are what make this game engaging or the
Mhm.
fights engaging. Without Goku, Bax didn't really have that outfit that really get without overpopping us with all these outfits. Okay, you guys took us down, whatever. But like
Mhm.
Goku gave us a nice fight, and they would always pull maxes on us, and it was this big meme, and it was a good rivalry, and we'd just go
Yeah.
back and forth, right?
Yeah.
They leave the game, or these other outfits start leaving the game, and it's kind of like
Mm.
you kill AOD and you don't even realize the tag's there anymore, right? You don't even see the tag. It's just another person. Like
Mhm.
nothing against AOD. If AOD's not there, is another Zerg fit. Without Zerg fits, there's no game. But
Mhm.
my point here is outfit. I realized once outfits left, mid fits left, and elite fits left, there's not. That's what the game like
That's the
needed.
game.
That's what was like,
Yeah.
like the alert meta and like all these things that were there, kind of
Yes.
just came down. And like that's why like I don't mind solo farming because I mean the outfit thing is just not there. And like B-Way came back. It used to be a joke. Shades comes back, makes B-Way,
Yep.
trains everybody, goes hardcore, gets the
Big
2KD
B-way.
players. And I'm like, and again, nothing against Shades, nothing against B-Way. But I was like, what are you doing? There's no outfits to compete
Right.
against. You guys are
Right.
competing you're soaking in everyone, all the talent, and you're fighting nothing. You're fighting Hellzergs or whatnot, or PvE, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Um, but there's no like there's almost no one to go against.
Yeah.
And
You're a
again,
soldier
they had
without a
fun with it.
war.
They enjoyed it. Yeah, and again, that was my own perspective on it. But in a
Mhm.
way, it's kind of like I almost wanted somebody to be there to fight. But like, if I have 7 backs guys on, and you have 62 B-Way players on. It gets to a point where it's like, okay, we're not going to be able to to play like that. We can't have that Goku backs when we had a platoon, they had a platoon or something like that.
Yeah, there's no
And
possibility for
so
rivalry there. Mhm.
exactly. So outfits are a crux of the game, and like it took me forever to realize that. And once everyone left, but there's no reason to be an outfit, right? I can make my own 3-person outfit and have I can have Salt as the name or Spy or whatever weird thing that I think is
Mhm.
hilarious.
Mhm.
And but it's like, okay, if I'm in backs, what I get? Nothing. I just have the tag. I don't want to be in your outfit. I don't want to follow your rules and whatnot.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it would be nice if outfits had progression to them and you got things for being in them that are useful.
Mhm.
I don't, and I feel like guilds and MMOs are more developed than they are in Planetside. I think that's actually something that's important,
Yeah.
or we could build upon to make people want to be in outfits. But that's a whole other topic and a huge thing for the devs to even consider, which I think in a way they are. They've started to. It's on a very small phase,
Mhm.
and hopefully we can build upon that. And then now to go back to your original question, Outfit Wars.
Okay.
So having that history, I like teamwork. I like playing with people. I like capping bases.
Mhm.
Outfit Wars, okay. This is maybe something that's competitive that the dev team is supporting since MLG, right? Cool.
Mhm.
We saw how MLG went. That was rough. So I was a little excited for it because I do like the competition. I do like
Yeah.
the idea of Planetside. That's why I play it. It's not I farm players too or kill people, whatever, because it's an FPS. But I do like that aspect. But then Outfit Wars comes in and we test it. I test it, and I give them a lot of benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, you're gonna make a donut base. All the bases are donuts, at least in the
Mhm.
test.
Mhm.
This is really bad, but I get it's really rough. It's a test. It's beta, an actual beta.
Right.
Usually when betas come out, it's like, wow, dude, the graphics look like the release.
Beta means
You know,
basically done in 2020.
yeah. But this was like a real beta. I was like, okay, okay, I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
We'll make
Yeah.
this a real beta, and we won't harp on it too hard. It, I don't know if Outfit Wars knew what it wanted to be. Is this competitive? It's Outfit Wars, Outfit v Outfit. Sounds competitive in a way, right? That's what
Mhm.
I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But can you do competitive with 3 factions? Can you do
Right.
competitive with 3 groups? Well, the answer is no, you cannot.
Yeah.
And I mean, thank God there's no money or anything tied to it because that would be a shit show because it is unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to balance a 3-way fight. And it becomes really unfun because skill gets taken out of it sometimes, right? Because if you're getting double teamed, and yeah, sure, if you kill everyone, if it's 2v1 and you're able to kill everyone, that's cool, I guess. But it's something that, like, if you were to lose, it would feel, I would be pretty jaded about it. Like, okay, well, why do we get double
Right.
teamed? I want to have a 50-50. And then they were like, hey, we're going to model this after Server Smash a little bit. And I'm thinking in my brain, okay, Server Smash, it's one faction versus the other faction.
Yes.
This sounds pretty good. Server Smash had some limitations to it, which I think made it better. I think it could have had more limitations, which would have made it even better, which people in my stream definitely disagreed on me
What kinds
with,
of
and other people agreed
limitations?
with. Well, it goes back to the domains. This goes back, I don't know, I always use like 5 years.
Okay.
So originally, and again, I thought about Planetside in a very general way back then.
Uh-huh.
But you used to have like, okay, we're out of infantry resources. I can't get grenades, or if I'm a good player, I can't get my med kits because we don't have bases with infantry resources. We need to cap some bases with infantry resources. So when we get ticks, we get infantry resources so I can get med kits. Same thing
Mhm.
applies for air resources or tanks and senders, right?
And this is an old system that's no longer in the game, right?
Right. So they scrapped it. They did phase one resource revamp, which I think is kind of what we have now, and it was supposed to be built upon. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was okay, fine. We'll take phase one. We know we're going to get more to it, and we never got it.
Right.
I look at something like a Max or a Banshee Mozzie
Yeah.
or somebody in a tank 400 meters away showing me in the spawn room as an asset, something that you should earn.
Yeah.
I don't go into Call of Duty, suck at the game, and pull a chopper gunner off the rip because I can, because the devs allow me to. That's everyone's like, well, it's fun, it's awesome. Well, yeah, it's really cool to get a chopper gunner in Call of Duty, but it needs to have a bit of restriction to it. I would love for the Banshee Mozzie to be pulled because you earned it. You got like enough resources, and it's like an asset that you want to protect, right? On live, it's like you fly your Banshee, it crashes. Oh, okay, I'll go pull another one. Oh, I lasted 2 minutes in
Yeah.
my max.
It's
I can pull
tough.
another one.
It's tough because
S-
people have different fantasies about what the game should be.
Right. Again, this is just my perspective on it.
Yeah.
And playing in Silver Smash and playing in these things, it like that idea of like having assets and things that like you get because you capped a base and you get resources or faction resources or outfit resources, you're able to divvy that up among the team, almost like a CS:GO style.
Mhm.
You start with pistols, you do well, you get more, you get more money. You're able to buy things, right,
Right.
that are better. Or I'm infantry, you can get a Mozzie and dunk on me. I like that idea of it. Not everybody does, so I understand that. But it's never
Mhm.
been tested before, so
Mhm.
I'm curious what it would do.
Yeah, so, like, almost like
So
an alert where a continent would open up, and you would unlock certain gear based on some kind of progression or I mean, there's some of that, like, with tech plants, right? Where you can only pull certain vehicles when you have a tech plant, but you
they
can
may have
always go back
changed
to the
that now
warp gate.
too, but
Yeah,
right,
I
right,
heard that's changing, but you're talking about having not just and that system is it's kind of like a tip of the cap to that kind of like a like play. Generally speaking, people don't take bases for that reason. They take bases because
right.
that's what you do in Planetside. Like that's what else is there to do other than kill people and take bases. Like there's nothing else. But what you're talking about is a system where that kind of progression is a little bit more of why you do this. Like maybe you can't use an anchor unless you take, subterranean what's that base called?
Well, they got rid of SNA, but I know what you're talking
Oh, they got
about.
rid of it. Yeah,
Um,
okay, okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah,
but yeah, it
you get what I'm
applies.
saying. Like what if it was that granular? Like what if you had to take a certain base to get shotguns?
Right, right. I mean, yeah, again, or yeah, or you have infantry resources like they used to have, and I can't get any more medkits as my elite infantry player. If we want to limit stuff for them too, we can. Okay, give me the
Uh-huh.
medkits. That's fair. But that idea, like, and again, maybe it's too crazy, or maybe that's something you do just in Outfit Wars. I don't know.
It's a fun idea.
Um, well, it's just something that like not everyone can just pull a Banshee Mossy or an Air Hammer and just go to this fight.
Right.
It's like, okay, we need Aeflic. I can't fly, but we need Aeflic to come over in his Banshee Mossy and actually be useful at this fight. Not just, you know what I mean, like this whole anyone can pull anything whenever they want to. And kind of make things a little bit more special in that regard because I think the infantry gunplay and the gameplay in the game is in a good balanced position. Infantry versus infantry, like just works well.
Mhm.
Infantry versus Mozzie does not work. Did I miss my decimator? Okay, I'm probably dead. Okay. Yeah, burster maxes, yada yada yada. But my point is I think the infantry gameplay is the crux of the game. I don't mind. I'm not saying delete maxes and A to G, even though I wouldn't mind that. But if we're going to keep them in, maybe limit them. Or we used to have timers. It was 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You died, and it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have charged in that room. You know what I mean? That's something that like we used to have. So it used to be in the game, dev support it, whatever. I don't mind
Resource
going back to
scarcity.
something like that because then it
Yeah.
becomes an asset. It's something you don't want to lose.
Right.
It's like Call of Duty, and again, it's a terrible comparison. But if I have a chopper gunner, I want to use that and kill as many people as possible. If you shoot me
Mhm.
down with whatever a rocket launcher, I'm just going to say that in the game.
Mhm.
I feel like I lost my asset. I can't just pull another one
Right.
because I can.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
it
that's the
sucks. I got two
game.
kills. Yeah, yeah.
What you're talking about with the chopper it's a force
It's a kill streak
multiplier.
reward.
Yeah.
Right. It's
It's
something
a
that's
force
very powerful.
multiplier that you earn.
Right.
And I think what I hear you talking about and is
You don't have to earn
this
everything with
tension.
kills. I'm not saying that.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead though.
there's a tension in the game, and I think one side is winning between the reality of the fact that that certain things are just force multipliers, like max
Yeah.
suits, like banshee mossies, all these things. Um, and when you say that the infantry unit is kind of the crux of the game, what I think I hear you saying is maybe something like, um, that's kind of like one force unit, and maybe a mossy is like that times 2.5 or something like
It's like a
that.
risk. Yeah, the horse is worth 5.
Yeah, and but if you have someone who just wants to be a pilot, does it make sense for him to be able to always be a 2.5 from the get go? And I know piloting in this game is extremely hard. Um, you said you
Yeah.
can't do it. I can't do it either. I respect everyone who can, but there is a reality to like people. Some people want there to be no maxes in the game. Some people want to be able to play a max anytime they want because that suits their personal fantasy of what they want. They want to be in a mech suit. Like, why else would I play the game if I can't be in a mech suit all the time?
Right.
Or
I want 400 rounds on my anchor.
right,
I want that.
or
I want
in a
it. I want to be
tank.
God mode. Yeah,
Yeah, like there's this conflict
but that's why
between
it's the
the power
dev
fantasy
responsibility. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the so accessibility versus like balance almost.
Right. But that's the dev's job. And again, if it's not my vision, I get that. Dev's vision is to have it how it is. That's fine. But again, with these infantry resources, with the timers, we saw there was a different. It was like that before, right? In a way, it could have been
Mhm.
built upon. But my thing is like, if I want to be in a chopper gunner or AC gunship in Call of Duty the entire time, that doesn't work very well. And that's an extreme example in a different game, but I use it for a reason. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you want to be in the you want to play a max and play the max. Keep it alive, dude. I mean, you can get res and you can rep yourself pretty
Mhm.
quickly, and you can have engineers rep you really quickly. Um, but my thing is like majority of players are infantry in the game. Okay, at any given time. So that's why I say it's like the crux of the game. It's like the main thing. Like you have infantry, and then you kind of build upon that. And I get what you're saying. Maybe people just want to fly the entire time.
Mhm.
I, and that comes, but this comes to where it comes down to like the dev vision. What do you want the game to be?
Right.
People want to be in a tank in Battlefield all the time. Well, sorry, it's not spawned.
Yeah.
Don't know what to tell you. You're gonna have to wait for the tank to spawn. There are players that love the choppers in Battlefield, right? I don't know, 4, whatever. They're like really good at piloting, and someone else got in the chopper. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. You're gonna have to wait.
Mhm.
And again, that's up to the devs to design that. So again, this is me being super opinionated and very angled. But when I think about, and to your comment, I don't know if it was Commander Serious, little grug, getting bullied by the big
Little
grug,
grug versus big grugs.
right, right.
Uh-huh.
But nobody's talking about. I'm at a 30% underpopped fight, right? I'm part of the 30%, fighting against 70%.
Uh-huh.
Guess what that 30% is? It's all infantry. It's all infantry. Maybe there's a max in there, okay? There's no air there.
Yeah.
There's no tanks. There's no sunderers. There probably are no maxes. It's probably just infantry. And what are we fighting against? Not only overpop, 2 to 1 plus, okay? We're fighting against maxes. We're fighting tanks on a hill I can't even deal with, okay? They're too far away. I'm fighting A2G, and maybe there's a sunder on point or something like that. That's what I
Mhm.
have to do to come out of the spawn room to try to secure the objective, right?
Mhm.
And I can play around that to a degree, and I might get 10, 12, 15 kills there, right? And I'll
Mhm.
feel satisfied. Sometimes I get nothing. I'm like, okay, I got farmed for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But the other guys that are there, I hit tab on my scoreboard. I got 12 kills here. I see 1, 2, 0. I think, okay, so you have all these little grugs, right? That I'm bullying or whatever. But what about the little guys in the spawn room with me?
Mhm.
How does that work out? That's something that I feel like nobody ever talks about. There's people on both sides. It's just one side is
Yeah.
stacked, and there's no conscious thought of like, if my max dies here, can I pull another one? Yeah, of course I can. I don't care. If I have my A2G and I die, I can pull another one. I can go farm this little easy fight over here.
Yeah.
That's my mindset of it. Is like, is that a good experience for somebody running out of the spawn room that is new to the game, new player experience, or just not good at the game? And it's like, I want to defend this space. Oh, wait a minute. I killed that one max. I feel so good. Oh, he got res. He's full health now again. Okay.
Mhm.
I killed him. He pulled another one. Oh, okay. It just kind of like, it kind of makes you just kind of go, okay, well, it is what it is. I guess we'll go to the next fight. It makes things less meaningful, I guess.
Right.
And that interaction kind of upsets me. That's when I ran Zergvitz. I we'd had an air wing at one point, but I tried to limit the maxes unless we were underpopped and we needed to actually use them to bust out, right?
And why is that? Why did you want to limit them?
Because I don't think that's a fun experience, right? I
Mm,
don't think that's a fun experience to walk out of the spawn room and
on the
get
receiving
crushed
end
by.
or on the driving the max end?
Okay, one, it's not fun for me to do that. Like you're trying 40 people trying to kill 3 people is well, guess what? Only 3 people can get the kill, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's only one person that's going to get it. So that's not fun, right? I like to get kills. I like to engage as an FPS. I like to fight.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to have the competition. I don't play football. I don't play pickup football. I don't play sevens. Flag football. I can't play anymore because I had too many concussions. Okay. I don't play 7v7, and then on my team we have 14 players. And then
Yeah.
you can only have receivers, but we're gonna have a bunch of linebackers.
Yeah,
We're gonna have this big like.
I think the trouble is that Planetside is not a sport. And
I get that it's casual for a lot of people, but
well,
it's also, is it casual running out of the spawn room against that?
it's trying to
You
be a,
again,
like,
you're looking at it from the
yeah,
aspect of the people on the 70%. You're not looking at it. You're assuming everyone in the 30% is me,
yeah,
Big Rug. It's not. It's not.
yeah.
It does not work that way, bro. Which is why people leave the game.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think
It's
that
like experience that's not fun.
I think the funny thing about Planetside is like it's almost like we're all piloting individual units in an RTS game, right? But in
Mhm.
RTS game, the different unit strengths and the way they combine together, and maybe throwing away units in a fight you know you're going to lose in order to slow down the enemy. It makes sense to you because you're in the commander point of view. Like
Right.
the in a way, the gamer in an RTS is the one controlling the overseeing the action, like the force commander.
They tried
And
that in Planetside, but unfortunately, go ahead though. Go ahead though.
yeah, well, when you're dealing with real people who don't just you can just click
Right.
on it and say go here, do that, and
Right. Right.
clicking ahead is
Right.
a lot more complicated than it is telling Marine you go here and shoot stuff in StarCraft or
Right.
whatever. And so because the gamer isn't the commander in Planetside, it's in the individual unit. Um, Everyone wants to have fun as that unit, and the reality is, like, I can imagine, like, if I was like a Zergling in StarCraft, that wouldn't be any fun. Like, I would never want to be a Zergling. That would suck. You want to be one of
Right. But
the powerful force multiplier units. Everyone wants to be that. Um, and I guess
you
like
also you can't get Thors. You can't get 20 Thors because you decide like that's what I want to have right now. Because everyone can pick one thing. Off the rip. You have all the
yes,
resources. As soon as I log in, I have 750 resources right now. If I were to do it, I can pull a max, I can pull a bench, I can pull whatever I
all
want
right,
off the
because
rip.
an RTS doesn't
But
care
you
about
can't
the
do that.
individual experience of each unit. It doesn't matter in
Right.
RTS how the
Right.
experience of
But
each
name
individual
another
unit.
game.
But in Planetside, it does matter. Each unit has to have fun. It's a free to play game. Like people don't have
Hmm.
to invest a lot to be here other than their time, and if they're not enjoying it, like no one wants. Well, okay, it's funny. I use no one wants to be a Zergling as the comparison, but like being a Zergling has I think a limited shelf life in a game like Planetside. If you're just showing up to follow commander and die in battle, be a good little grug maybe. I'm not sure if that actually leads to long time play. I don't know. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think that the problem that you're kind of elucidating
We
here.
we had these systems before in a more, not as restricted as I'm talking about. We had them before.
Okay.
We wiped them off the table to then rebuild a new system, but we never rebuilt the system and we just left it where it was. The idea was we were told this is phase one resource revamp. That
Yes.
idea was there. And I get what you're saying, but again, we're still forgetting about the 30% people that are with me at this fight. That is not fun. That
Yeah.
is not fun for them to be in that fight, right?
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. And again, I'm not saying delete maxes. I'm not saying delete A2G. I'm not saying you can't have overpop, okay? But I don't see any harm because PlanetSide, when it was successful, had resources that were tied to infantry resources, right? They had a timer on maxes that when the game was, I mean, you could say it was new then, right? But
Hmm.
technically, that's when the pop was the highest, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm just saying, that it's something to consider. I mean, we had that before. We
So
were
what you're
going to get
saying?
something like that next, and then it never
Yeah.
came to fruition.
So this is the thing I have about in games in general. And maybe it's related, maybe it's not. You can tell me what you think. Um, I think that in general that there's a rush to make games more accessible to people, and which is fine. It sounds like a good idea, but there's also a
Right.
risk in accessibility because the more you remove friction from certain elements of your game in order to make more of the experience open to more different types of people, the more the identity of your game gets kind of diluted, perhaps.
Yeah, washed out. Yeah, for sure.
Like like if you have a game like say an MMO, but there are raids, and let's say that the raids are not that hard to get done, and they don't really reward you with anything. Like they can't give it a reward because they're too easy, but they don't want to make them hard because that would exclude too many people. So what you have is this kind of this content stream that's like, who is this for? Why was this made? Why would I want to do this?
I have a point. You've brought something to fruition here, but go ahead. I just wanted
Yeah,
to make a note.
and there is a need for friction in order to give people something to kind of I don't know. But the way I'm connecting that idea to what you're bringing up is that maybe maybe the reason the resource system was softened was to reduce friction for people who want to play the way they want to play. And maybe, and I think the argument you're making is that by doing that, the game lost some of the good frictional interactions that would make have they would force people to make decisions that would lead to better gameplay for everybody.
Yeah, I do think it would lead to better gameplay for everybody. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
And but again, I have not been elite infantry since day one. When I started this game, I came in like, oh my gosh, I think there's like 17 tanks here, and there's like 40 aircraft, and there's
Uh-huh.
100 people on the ground. This is insane.
Yeah.
Joined a Zergfit with 3 platoons. Okay, 2 infantry, 1 air. Um, Loved it. Like I applied on the forums, man. It's cringy.
Yeah,
Just I
man.
applied on the forums to be an infiltrator, a
That's the
scout
good
infiltrator or something. I
stuff.
was like, that sounds so cool, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Be an assassin.
they're like, no, you suck or something. You don't have the right weapons or whatever. Something weird. They went really
Baby
deep with it.
Aeflic.
It was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
fun to do that. Play army, whatever. And then I wanted to lead my own Zergfit and do this, make it better experience for everybody.
Uh-huh.
Okay, like we're not going to do this max thing unless we're majorly out popped, and we're going to use it in a way that I think would benefit.
So you're going to
Okay, you guys have a
apply
lot of pop.
your own friction to something where,
Yeah,
where the game is not doing it. You'd be like, okay, I know this makes better Planetside, so I'm going to take responsibility for making the game good myself.
right. I'm going to try to. And again, VCO was not back in the day was not perfect in any regards, and it's much different than it
Right.
was then. And we splintered off because a large chunk of the player base wanted to get better at the game. So
Uh-huh.
then we went to midfit backs / elite fit, and then we kind of narrowed backs down to elite fit, and then we're like, whatever, stats don't matter now in 2020. But I've done the whole thing, man. And it's like, what is fun?
Mm-hmm.
What is fun? I'm a big proponent of not everybody receiving a ribbon. Okay, I think that's terrible in real life. I
Yeah.
think that we have issues because of that. And again,
It's not good.
everything's a gray
It's
area.
not good for especially
And,
for kids. It's not good.
right. So that to me applies to this game. Casual gamer or not, I've been casual. I've gone down that route. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm actually probably more casual now than I've ever been.
Hmm.
And I think about other people. I have friends that have tried this game.
What
I've
were
been
your
around
friends'
players.
experiences like?
Kind of like what I described. Like I think about Summit 1G, and yes, he's getting stream sniped, but why does Summit not play the game? Like no one wants to be good at the game or just play the game and come out the spawn room and get dead. You don't understand the game yet, right?
Yeah.
I come out the spawn room sometimes, I die, get no kills, uninstall, I'm done.
I have an idea about
Um,
that, by the way. We can come back to it later, though.
but I wanted to bring up a point. A lot of games like, okay, you want to be a role player? That's weird, whatever. But you want to do that? You want to be a role player? Okay, well
Mhm.
here's a role player server, right? You can role
Right.
play on the server, or in Call of Duty we'll use it. There's a hardcore game mode, right?
Okay.
For the players that like that. There is, it's always been community driven in regard. Besides MLG, which failed, Server Smash, Eurodome, Farmers League,
Yeah.
Dirtle Dome, all of it community driven, right?
Mhm.
There's no place for, and Jaeger's kind of like that. Thank you, devs, for giving us something
Mhm.
um, for community events.
Thank God for Jaeger.
But my thing is like, there's no server to go to like to try or play. And again, like there's not enough players probably for that. Okay, I get that they don't want to separate the thing because it's not there's not 10 million people playing it. But my point still stands. Is like Planetside wants to be everything, all ribbons, all the time for everyone. Is that the best idea? Does that blossom the game? Does it like I think about Tarkov. You can camp in a bush 100% of the time and wait for the best player in the world to pass by, get one shot, you kill him in the head, it's over. Doesn't matter. That's cheesy. That's dumb. It's stupid. I played Tarkov a lot and I loved it. That's what it's only two games that have taken me from PlanetSide 2. That
Mm-hmm.
being the second one. Call of Duty
Mm-hmm.
Black Ops 2 BR was the first one.
Okay.
And I liked that from Tarkov. Is like this is what our game's going to be. It's going to be hardcore like this,
Yeah.
and not a lot of games are like this, and we want to make this because everyone's getting this ribbon type of thing, right? And then guess what? I lost all my shit that I worked so hard for in that game.
Yeah. Tarkov is
And
brutal.
and, and you're like, do I even want to play the game anymore? I just lost everything.
And you
Like
did
coming from like
though.
RuneScape.
You did though. I bet you
Yeah,
that
yeah,
motivated you,
yeah. And
knowing
again,
you.
I'm not everybody, and like
Yeah.
people are different. I get that, but there's no option in PlanetSide to where it's like
Yeah. Well, I think
it just I don't know. I know we don't have to hound this too hard,
no. I think
which goes back
this
to
is
my
an
original
important
point of Outfit
concept.
Wars.
It underpins so much stuff. But yeah, bring it back to Outfit Wars, dude. Go for it.
And really, I would. That's why I wanted Service Smash to kind of try a little bit, is experiment with a little bit more restriction and just see how the game progresses. Because if you take things away, how do people respond to it? Maybe it's a great experience. Why is
Hmm.
Service Smash dead? Probably because of outfits.
Yeah.
But people
Yeah.
were like, when Pounder Maxes were super super strong anti-infantry instead of being anti-vehicle,
Yeah.
and they banned anti-infantry maxes in Service Smash because we're like, this is stupid. Everyone's just trying to pull maxes the whole time because it's a competitive event.
Because
Everyone
that's what works.
rushed.
Yeah.
So everyone rushes to get TR, right? We want TR for the faction so we can get Pounder maxes, right? And then what happens is we don't ban maxes, right? Because everyone's like, we need our burster maxes, whatever. So then there's just Pounder maxes on the point. And if you don't have Pounder maxes on the other team, it kind of sucked, right? And now
Yeah.
you're talking about a competitive event that you're trying to make balanced. Now that's not balanced. So again, I wanted more restrictions in Server Smash just to try it. Maybe it's more fun. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a shitty idea, but like let's at least try it. But anyway, back to Outfit Wars. Three. You can't have three teams. Okay, don't make no sense.
Okay.
Okay, don't work.
All right.
Probably should use Battle Islands. Okay, that'd be pretty sweet. We had Battle Islands. It'd be amazing. Whatever.
Like Nexus.
Base design. Yeah, I know my outfit used to play test on it, or just they had access to it somehow, and they'd do scrims on it.
Yeah.
I was super
It was
jealous.
a neat
I was never
idea.
part of that.
I hear it was never really finished and it's kind of wrecked at the moment.
Right. Correct. Yes, that's my understanding as well. But one faction versus another faction, one
Okay.
outfit versus another outfit. Okay, that just makes sense to me. With
That's a sport.
well designed.
That's a sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or well, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm making a distinction between a sport and I guess a sandbox because
Well,
maybe there's a
what is a
place.
sport though?
Okay, so when I say the word sport, I'm talking about a contest where all the variables outside of player agency are controlled for. And in order to do that, you have to have certain assumptions, like the same number of players on each side, the same access to equipment, skills, whatever. Those kinds of baseline assumptions. Um, when you introduce a third faction, it's inherently imbalancing, which I think might be important to the sandbox identity of Planetside. Maybe I actually kind of like. I think that having three factions actually enhances the ability of those kinds of outfit rivalries you talked about to flourish, because it makes room for politicking. Because it's not just about who's good and who's not and going head to head. It's like, you can kind of cheese each other. And if you go back to like Planetside 1, which is a game where there was a lot more room for niche outfits to have an impact on the map compared to Planetside 2. But again, that's another choice where Planetside 2 is more about like, let's make a great individual experience rather than let's make a great group experience. Did you play Planetside 1, by the way?
I wanted to. Didn't have the ability to. I really wanted to. But yeah, never did. Very sad.
Very, very unique thing. And very interesting
Well,
time to be a gamer.
I don't like three faction on live because sometimes there's just not a fight, and sometimes there's not a fight for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
To me, is it's a MMO FPS. FPS being half of the game. I would like to shoot something besides me
Right.
pressing my gun against a wall. So that is frustrating. Okay, I don't mind three factions on live, but
Right.
anytime you have an event or something that you can win, and you're including a variable like a third faction or outfit, it becomes a little weird to me.
Sure. Sure.
The idea of like, I think of, what is there another game that does that? Where they have a game and then they're going to create an event for this game that you have to qualify for, that you have to work super hard to qualify for, which is going to be
Right.
changed.
Right.
You have to kill as many people, all these things just to qualify. And then, but you're telling me it's casual or it's not a sport or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's where it becomes a little weird to me.
I guess it depends on what you want it to be. Um,
Well,
c-
and again, that's what they need. I don't think they know what they wanted Outfit Wars to be. They want to
yeah.
model what live is because this is what Planetside is. It's combined arms. It's three factions. It's everything. Nothing is restricted. But does that make the best gameplay? Do people really want to go to it? It has to be 48 v 48 v 48. My outfit cannot support 48 players, let alone a roster of probably 60. I've said a million times.
You
If
need
you
to
have
have half
48
again that
active
number.
players,
Yeah. At
yeah,
least.
right. So yeah, 60 is probably conservative. Um, we're gate kept from that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In a way. And I think the way to go about it is
Unless you
to maybe
dissolve your
try
outfit and combine with another one,
right,
right?
which is not feasible because then you're only gonna have like 4 outfits on each faction or something
And then
weird
you're
like
gonna go
that.
back to the old outfit after it's over.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, and it takes away from like the outfit.
Yeah, the
I want
identity.
backs to win
Mm-hmm.
or this, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I think a 24 v 24 is maybe a more realistic because you have burnout, right? You have how do you replace 60 players or how do you replace 24 players from the last time that they don't want to do it?
Right.
It's more difficult to do that, right? It's way more easier to
Right.
replace if 6 people out of a 24 roster. And again, I'm not saying large fights are bad, um, but we see in MLG there's just not that many good players, right? So when all the players go to a majority of players go to Nuck and strengthen Nuck and air, tanks, and infantry, and I have 4 good players on my team. It just doesn't. It's demoralizing. It's just very. I don't know. It doesn't work out. There's just not enough a pool of players, and I think that's why I failed. But I could be wrong.
I hear what you're saying.
Um,
And this is one of the main reasons I wanted to ask you on if like I actually watched your shows you did on so you have a podcast you do with Shoctorr,
yeah.
which I want to come back to and talk about a little bit more detail. But you guys had great discussions about Planetside Infantry League and Outfit Wars back to back, and you definitely compared them to each other. Um, and I actually really love Pill, and I love the old Farmers League format that was kind of its grandfather. When I was what first motivated me to really play Planetside 2 because I didn't play it at release. Actually, I was living in Europe without a gaming PC when Planetside 2 came out. Um, but in late 2014, early 2015, the Farmers League was starting, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is cool! I want to play some Planetside.
Farmers. Oh my
This is
gosh. Yeah.
cool." And
Go
I,
ahead
I
though.
know it's a bit of a meme, right? But
No, no. I just we try to get into it, and it's a meme now against backs. But go ahead though. We'll talk
oh
about it later.
yeah, that's interesting. Uh, um,
Sorry to interrupt you, man. I
No,
have
no,
an
no. I
issue
want to
with it.
ask
So
about that in a second. I'm just pinning it in my head so I don't forget. So, but yeah, that having that as like something to shoot for is like, oh, I would love to participate in this, like be in a team. That looks fun to me. That would motivate me to actually play on live, to improve my skills, to become a good shooter, learn how to move, learn how to communicate, all those things. That looks really fun. Having like a like almost like a dominance hierarchy of some kind
yeah. Oh,
where
for sure,
and
dude.
this used to
For
motivate
sure.
me hugely when I played MMOs a lot. I played WoW a lot back in when it first came out. And I loved the days of pre-transmog World of Warcraft where you knew what people went through to get the gear they had just by looking at them. And I loved
Yeah.
playing an Orc Warrior with all my ugly ass on Courage gear that it was terrible looking. The colors were orange and purple, and who the hell designed this? And this does not look cool and warrior like, but I had the status of having gotten that item. And back then, not a lot of people did that raid. And some people,
Or you couldn't buy it, right? You
yeah,
couldn't just put money on it.
you couldn't buy
Yeah.
it and you couldn't fake it. You couldn't buy the skin somewhere. In order to get that, you had to go to the raid with 39 other people and kill this boss. And not just once,
Preach.
but
Preach.
probably like 15, 20 times. Um,
Yep.
it was a marker of status. And like to me, watching people show up at the Farmers League is like, oh shit, these are like these. There is like a high status planet man. Like there's something to
Right.
shoot for. And when you have someone at the top, that implies a progression. And that's, I think, for me, super motivating to be like, oh, like there's a ladder I can climb.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I like directives. Like, it's kind of cool to have that. And I chatted with Relevant about directives too, and we talked. Um, but I'm not like achievement oriented. I'm not achievement driven. I really
Same.
like,
Even though same though. Even though
I
I go
like,
for like 100,000, but yeah,
yeah, and I really like
I agree.
markers of social status in these kinds of things. We're like, okay, this thing is great. The game gave me a pat on the back, but I don't care what the game thinks. I care what the community thinks. And if the community has
Yep.
decided that this thing is valuable and this thing is admirable, that's what I want to go for, and that's fun. And
Right. You can, and it's fun to flex on people, right? And meme and do all those things and troll with that status, right? Like we beat
yes,
you guys in Farmers League. Sorry, you guys got third,
yeah,
or you guys didn't even score any points. But go ahead.
that is gold. That is gold for a game like Planetside. You want those kinds of antagonistic kind of things because that
Stuff that
brings
means
communities
something to
together.
people. Want it
Yeah,
to be meaningful, not why are we capping this base with 90,000 people, no one here to shoot. I mean, again, different people, different aspects, but I'm the same way as you. I do that in real life. Like when at my job, I want to be like the best person in my job, right? I just want to. It's like
yeah,
I get that status of like being number one or being like top five or something. So I agree with you 100%. Oh, dude, that's just crazy. There's so much here to unpack.
yes,
So going back to Server Smash,
okay,
just to show you, and maybe we'll see. I'm curious how you'll take this, but you know,
okay,
this whole idea of like, I want to be on live and I want to do whatever I want to do. If that were the case, and we were, Super Smash is competitive in a way, right?
okay,
It was. It got to a
hmm,
point where it got really intense. So when the devs came, and I wasn't part of the leadership team, I didn't want to mess with that bullshit. But they were like, "Hey, Watterson and Maston, we'll let you guys play for server name," right? That became a big deal.
yeah.
There was actually something on the line. It wasn't money, it wasn't any of that, but it was like, Watterson, dude, fuck these dudes. We're from
It's pretty
Madison.
cool. It's a cool idea.
AC's over here, DA, whatever.
Yeah.
They're Vanu, but I'm NC backs, and they meme on me or whatever. But okay, we're on the same team now. We don't really give a shit about that anymore. We're gonna put that aside for a second. We're gonna go shit down Watterson's neck, right?
Yeah.
Um, where like the team comes together essentially.
Yeah. Call to
AOD's in there.
battle.
AOD's in there. PHX is in there. These casual players that are on live, this like almost pretty dab, all these outfits that, you know, we were just talking about before, like, well, they want the ribbon. No, they want to fucking play for shit that matters too. But there's no restrictions on live, so they're allowed to do it and they will play for it that way. Server Smash by the community set some restrictions. They couldn't pull those things. Guess what? They still fucking wanted to be there.
Mhm.
They're still pulling up 48 players for that,
Mhm.
or 12, or whatever the restrictions were for
Mhm.
the event. It meant something to them. Okay.
Yeah.
And even though those restrictions were in play, it wasn't like, well, I can't pull my anti-infantry max. I
Mhm.
I don't want to I don't want to go. And
Mhm.
guess what? They got farmed into the ground, but they were needed. I can't put a 400 v 400 team together, or the team can't put a 400 v 400 team together without them, right?
Yeah.
But so the other team can't either, right? So you have like your good outfits, your good infantry players, you have your good air players, and
Mhm.
you build this team around that, right? And everyone cared that was there for the most part, or maybe not everyone. Some people are like, whatever, I'm just going to farm people or whatnot. But
Oh,
that's my point. You gave us something, or the community put something together in their own light that is Planetside, but it's not Planetside, right? It's not
right.
three factions. It's not you can't pull maxes or anti-infantry maxes, and some of them you
Mhm.
could, but there's restrictions, and we came together and we did that and we enjoyed it, and then we fought for something that actually mattered, right?
Right.
In a way, and that was Pinnacle Planetside. That moment was Pinnacle Planetside for me, outside of the alert meta, capping the tech plant.
Yeah.
Or capping, four or whatever. I don't know, you needed nine or nine. There was nine tech plants, and you cap five or whatever it was.
And I'm sorry I missed those days.
Yeah, yeah. But my point is, the more ribbons we bring in, those things just go. Why have those things gone away? AOD's still here.
Mhm.
Why is Suit gone? Why is Back's pretty much dead? Where's AC? DA has come back, but okay, we'll
Mhm.
see. Maybe that's because of Pill. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm glad they're here, but bro, I could go down such a
Yeah.
long list. Why are they gone?
Yeah.
What's the point in being an outfit if there's nothing to fight for, or to or you're a smaller outfit, but you can't compete against these or give us something like Service Smash 2 can be for, but that dwindled down. Okay,
Mhm.
um, why did Pill 2 or Pill Invitational get 250 views on Twitch? I don't get
Mm.
250 views. I don't get 100.
Mhm.
Why is that?
And people
Do
wanna
pe
see
does
it.
that
It's an
show that
event.
people want? That's honestly, to me, besides like Winter Game or somebody like that that already has viewers and brings them
Yeah, he
over
has a
to
huge
Planetside.
built-in audience. Mhm.
Yeah, Pill was just, hey, we're doing a tournament. Check us out. By the community, for the community, and we get 250 views. That tells me something. That
Yeah.
tells me something, right?
There's a
It should
beating
tell other
heart
people
there.
something as well.
Yeah.
That's my point, though, and it's just like, I, it's not just me that thinks that, right? I think about now that I have a kid, it's like, or when I was a kid, it's like, oh, I just want to go out and party every night.
Mhm.
It's like, well, you have a job or you're in school and you probably should pass your classes. Like at the very minimum, maybe you shouldn't go out every night and you got to regulate yourself. Or maybe when I'm even younger and I don't know these things, I want to go out and my parents say no. But maybe there's a good reason or something, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
you almost have to do that with plant sites. Like, dude, we have to like
Yeah.
we're gonna give them. If you give me a box of Oreos, I will eat them all. My mom gave me four.
I'm not
Probably a
wait
smart
yeah.
idea.
You can't
Literally, she restricted me to
you don't give
four
your kids candy every single time they ask for it.
because guess what?
So
They're going to
so should
eat
the
it. It's the
game
same
give
idea.
players boxes every time they ask for it? That's the
But that's what
connection you're making?
it's a little yeah, I guess that's far out there,
No,
but
no, it's
in
valid,
a
I
way, it
think.
applies. That's how I feel about it. Like, if you're going to give somebody this, is like, well, to get, like, okay, well, I'm going to use it then, right? If you
Uh-huh.
don't, then they won't. And we've seen both sides of it. We've had the resources early on like this, and now we have them like this. Okay, like
Right.
I don't know. And again, I'm sure the devs have data 2020. 2019, 2018, maybe even way back when, but data is such a huge thing now. I'm sure they have data on things, and maybe it's like the data shows that the infantry players, elite infantry players suck, and they're in a small base of the community, and the AODs and
Mhm.
the casual players that play for 6 months and quit. Those are the ones that are buying things and staying in the game. And regardless of what I think, it doesn't matter. That's what's driving the revenue, and that's what we're going to do. So I
Mhm.
could be wrong, but we don't have that information, so I'm not sure. This is
Yeah.
how I feel because I want good gameplay, good content. You know how many people have
And
left the
good
game, and I'm
goals.
like, I've never seen them again in my life, and they're like a friends of mine that I played the game with for like 3 or 4 years. Like
Mm,
Shoctorr, literally left for 5 years, disappeared.
damn.
Then he
What
comes
brought him
back, and
back?
it's like I don't know. I can't remember. COVID, I think, and then like he's like, he was in some other discords, and then I don't know. I think I started talking a little bit, and maybe I don't know. I can't remember, but he came back, and it was
Okay,
just kind of
okay.
like, oh, welcome
It's
back,
cool,
like,
it's cool.
and he's kind of like ebbing away from the game a little bit. He's like, I mean,
Yeah, he's had his
but that
fix.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens. It's not a bad thing either, but so many people just don't even want to try the game. They've watched Twitch streams of it, and it's like, dude, I don't want to do that. That looks awful. You just died
Seems
seven
like a
times.
bit
It's
much.
just weird. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Or it's like, why it's not balanced, or again, whatever. That's besides the point.
Yeah.
And maybe we've gone so far down this rabbit hole. But I know we're talking about outfit
It's a
wars. My
worthwhile
gosh.
rabbit hole, man. I think it underpins a lot. It underpins
But
people's frustration with outfit wars. It underpins, I think, some of the really degenerate community on community interactions, like big grug versus little grug, that kind of mentality.
I will
And
say, Pill Invitational / season 2, the toxicity / the welcoming of newer teams that are not necessarily the top tier players and welcome them in has been huge, and they've done a great job with it, regardless of all the burnout and whatnot. But it's been a good experience, I think, and a much better management team, so to speak. But anyway, sorry.
no, let's take a break from the deep philosophical questions. Let's take a break from outfit wars and talk about Pill. Pill needs its time in the sun. Pill's a Planetside Infantry League. Aeflic, why don't you just describe it for the people who aren't familiar with it?
Oh man, I mean, essentially, it's Farmers. I think was first. Maybe there's some before that, but Farmers is what I remember. Then it was your Dome maybe 1 and 2. Then there was Eurodome. I don't remember. And then I think it was Pill.
So there's a progression.
Um, yeah, yeah. Like I think back in Farmers, you could have motion spotters. Okay, and then they realized like, okay,
Yes, bit
that's kind of
much.
stupid. Let's restrict that, right? And so like, there's been a lot of like building upon what
The
works and what
basics
doesn't
of
work,
it
what's
though
good and
is
what's not.
6 versus
66
6
infantry.
infantry, right? That's the
Right.
base.
With limitations on
Yeah,
what you can use and things like that. But yeah, and then there's certain qualified bases that they've tested and work and
that are good
they
for
have
those
center
kinds of things.
replacements. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean ultimately it's a game where you get points for killing other players, and then you also get points for capping the base if you were to cap it or to recap it. So it
Mhm,
has both elements in it. It's not just kills only, right? You can cap and get points that way as well.
mhm,
And it's just a place to get have a balanced competitive as much as you can have competitive in
mhm.
Planetside, and just get away from live and like experience something different that is just pure infantry. Um,
Just take a stroll
yeah.
through the infantry league. Nice, relax, trip to Pale Canyon. That's one of the bases, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the
People call it
OG
Stale Canyon
bases.
because it was it was one of the OG bases,
Yeah.
and and it is from the community by the community, right? But it's something that I mean, there's only people that only play Jaeger, that only play in like 6v6, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that extends the life of the game for it's a good thing because people stay around for it, right? Server Smash people stay around for it, or outfits people stay around for it, or
Right.
good memorable content like people stay around for that, and
Right.
that's what I want to create is just good experiences for people on live or in
Mhm,
something like Pill.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's intense, man, and some people take it way too seriously.
It
Um,
wouldn't be fun if people
but
didn't,
that's the
I
fun
don't
of it.
think.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So, did you play in Pill Season 1?
Um, yeah, season one. You mean invitational, or you mean like
Break it down.
the
Like,
very?
so we're about to start Pill Season 2. What pill came before this season?
It was just pill one, right?
Okay.
I'm so bad at this. I did play in the first one. I'm pretty sure it
Okay.
was pill. I can't remember if it was pill or Yodom or Dodom,
What
but I
was your
played in that one. I
experience of it?
played. It was great, man. It was fun, dude. It was just something like I was content with it being once a year or maybe even twice a year. And
Uh-huh.
it was always something that was like, we never know if there's going to be another one, right?
Yeah.
Just because
It
there's a
takes
lot
a
of
lot of
drama
community
and like,
effort. Oh, yeah.
and it's all free. No one's getting paid and everyone's bitching, right?
Yes.
And then like
Volunteer
we're
driven.
trying to play the Australians, and I'm like, well, wait, why
Oh,
you can't
man.
play at 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday? I was like,
That's
dude, I have a
that's rough.
life. I can't.
That's rough.
But I mean, that's just part of that's just doesn't matter what game you're playing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's just part of the fun of it. But it was just something that was widely different. There's no like I miss playing flag football. I miss playing
Mhm.
sports, right?
Mhm.
Somebody had explained to Zoe, right? I'm like, look, like I've had 8 concussions. I've had two
Ouch.
from flag football. I played like tackle football pickup games. Just got smoked in the head by a knee, like by some 400-pound guy. Like,
Shit.
and like I don't know if you know, but after you have every concussion, like you're more prone to them, and you're more prone to them being more severe.
Yeah.
So
Went to
I've pretty much
CTE later in
retired
life.
from.
That's
Yeah,
rough.
I've
You gotta
retired
protect that
from.
dome.
Yeah, I've retired from sports though, essentially, and I'm too physical. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell. Like I'm very passionate, and so it doesn't matter if it's flag football. It doesn't matter what it is, um, and I'm competitive. So like I kind of just go all out, and like that ends up with me getting injured usually because I'm not being super smart or protective, and I'm a guy, so not that that
Uh-huh.
matters. But
Uh-huh.
so
Chieftain
this was
W,
something that
right?
exactly this was something that like I could be competitive in and also not kill myself. So
Right.
um,
The
and I like that.
outlet.
And I soaked it up.
It's
It
good.
was great. It was great as a way to showcase your outfit a little bit.
So did you play with backs?
Yeah, I played with backs.
How'd you guys do?
We had a hodgepodge team. Man, I think we've gotten. I'm so bad at this. I think we got second like twice.
Okay.
Um, Maybe we got third. I don't know. We've done fairly well though.
And did you
But
guys like
it's been
practice and
limited.
stuff? Did you like prepare yourself and drill, or did you just kind of show up and see what happened?
So like 6v6 scrims are just fun in nature.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and so we did a lot of that, and then we did a little bit of like theory crafting on bases and like
Yeah.
what would work better in different scenarios, and try to work on some open and just like fun
What are some
stuff.
of the differences between
Um,
bases that drive those decisions? I think that there are a lot of people who don't actually know what goes into this and what makes it a fun sport. And I kind of wanted to surface some of those details. So like you're going to base A versus base B. How would you approach those differently in terms of like team comp or in terms of players you're going to bring? Like, what kind of decisions are made when you're looking at that?
I mean, it's like any game though. It's like StarCraft 2. Like, there's a meta,
Yeah.
and it's like I feel like as a lesser player, I don't play. I only watch. I watch StarCraft 2 tournaments all the time. I have my like in the morning I'll work, and a lot of the Korean stuff is on early morning or late at night. So I'll just
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
that up on the monitor, listening to it while I'm doing busy work.
Yeah.
Um, But there's a meta, and I feel like as like a lesser player, maybe you're like gold on the ladder or something, right?
Sure.
You're like, oh my gosh, he did the win on mind drop, or he did cyclone or whatever. Like, and then like that's the only thing you can do, right? You can only do these limited things, and then the meta develops. Maybe
Mhm.
there's an update that comes out, or maybe just the meta develops, right?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, someone did this thing, and now it's being taken on to. So Planetside Pill is much different. Not it's not StarCraft, and doesn't have all this history, right? But, there's just different ways of approaching comps, like, it's like, okay, everyone has 1 light assault, 1 infiltrator, and then the rest heavies, and then, like, all of a sudden, someone had, like, 2 light assaults, it's like, "Oh my god, like, what just happened?" And, like, the openers play out very similar, right? And then all of
Okay.
a sudden, they don't because something's changed, or, like, everyone conks over the stairs and underneath at, ah, shit, what is that fucking base? Paris Eastern, right?
Okay.
In the L building. That's like the meta, right? And then like no one gets hits, no one's there, and then all of a sudden like they're behind you, or they're doing something
It
different,
seems
right?
like the
Whether it's a
meta
meme or
evolves
fun.
a lot from season to season,
It does.
even
Yeah, for
still.
sure. And then like we work on things like different jumps that have like
Yeah.
never been really explored at the base. Like I wonder if we could get to the roof from the other
Yeah.
side because like on Ganon you could only get up the roof easily from one side, and I worked
Yes.
on a
Right.
jump that would took too long.
So
But it was a new jump, and you could get up from the other side, and then somebody used it against us, and then like it actually worked against us, and like it was a nightmare. But
that's awesome.
um,
So
yeah, it was just kind of
this
cool to do
is
that.
this jump you're talking about is something that non-light assaults can do because there's a high refresh rate bug essentially in the game engine
Right.
where if you have a high frame rate, certain surfaces that are vertical you can actually climb by jumping.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so like it's at this point it's pretty well
And
known
it's a
that
part of pill. Like they've made it a part of the
yeah,
game.
right. And it means part of live, right? We all use it on live. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows on a triple balcony,
Mhm.
if there's enough height there, there's like those two like ramparts on the far edges, and you can spacebar up those, right? And
Yeah.
that gets you to the balcony, and then you can go from, you can spacebar up and get into the window off a balcony. Okay, you can
Mhm.
spacebar up. You can get up to the window, go on the window, and then spacebar up to the roof. Okay,
Mhm.
you're not allowed
Mhm.
to. Like people know like the normal ones and which ones work at which bases, and then
Mhm.
so I just tried a different area, different surface, and sometimes one surface, one wall that looks exactly the same at this space you can climb, at this space you cannot. And so
Mhm.
we're just like practicing around with different jumps, and like we were able to discover that jump. And then it's a rare, kind of almost useless, but again, somebody used it and it worked, and it was beautiful to see.
Yeah.
So those type of things are just fun to do. Or like everyone, like on live,
Mhm.
back in my Zergfit days, like we'd spawn in, like everyone just run. Like, what's the shortest distance to the A point? Of course, that's where the defenders are, and everyone's gonna mow you down there. It's
Uh,
like, dude, I'm like, dude, just use your brain. Go to small, take the teleporter. What's that teleporter? Oh, that's what that thing is. I played the game for 7 years, and there's a
no one
like,
uses
I
the
swear,
teleporters.
there's a lot of players like that. I was like, small stairs, skinny stairs. I didn't even know that existed. I thought you had to go to double. And so the same thing applies to like pill. It's like not on that cringy scale, or maybe whatever, depending on how you feel about it. But the meta is okay. Everyone's gonna do this thing, or we're gonna push this way, or like on Pale Cannon. Like if you wait 5 seconds on the south side, like you can majority of the time the team
Mhm.
will pass the V, they'll go into the triple, and they'll start like testing the boundaries and like where's the bolt at, yada yada yada. If you wait, you can go on like this deep flank, and you can kind of get behind
Yeah.
everybody and get some easy kills that people aren't expecting. So it's just like taking what the meta is and then trying to work ways around what that meta is
That
to
kind
do
of stuff is
different things
fun.
to work. It
And
is fun, and then like not taking it too seriously. Like, okay, Ave, like you're gonna hold these stairs here, and then some people do that, which is fine, and it works for them too. Some people like laugh at that or think that that's crazy, but then sometimes it works against them, and you're like, okay,
mhm.
damn, maybe we should have taken it a little bit more serious. Or
Yeah.
it's just interesting because you think a team's bad. I said it B-way before in the invitational. I was like, they're gonna surprise some people, and they did really well.
Mhm.
Um, but they devoted a lot of time to it and practiced a lot, right?
That's the
So and they
Bushido
earned
way.
that. So there you go. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just a different thing, and it's something that's competitive again as much as it can be in
Mhm.
Planetside, and it's just something that's different, and it's just fun to have that. And it's for someone like me that like I enjoy playing football or sports in general, and I can't do that like I used to do. This is something
Yeah.
that I can supplement for it. Especially as I get older. I hate golf. My dad's
Yeah.
like, learn golf. You can play when you're 400 years old. And I was like, ah. I think I'll drive the cart and drink beer, I guess, if my friends go.
I
I'm
don't
just not
know.
into it, you know? But
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
are.
I
Some people
never
are.
could
It's fun.
understand golf. It's also not a team game, which I think for a lot of guys is like doesn't scratch the itch.
You can play it as a team game, but I mean, it's
And there's
pretty
no
whatever.
physicality. Like I know it's not the same with shooters, right? But there's a viscerality, right? When you're playing
Right,
a game like
right,
Planetside. I think I get
for
what you're
sure.
saying. Um, I really love Pill, and part of me is wondering whether it's the kind of thing that a Daybreak or a Rogue Planet could even have done as well as the community is doing it.
Ooh, man. Well, I mean, if we take Planetside mindset of the devs and what the direction is, no, of
I'm just
course
thinking
not. That's
an
impossible.
alternate universe where Planetside really embraced like this kind of player and
Well,
made
one, they
like
still can.
yes, yes.
Two, I think there's just and real quick, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but and then
Hit it, man.
interrupting you, so interrupt me. But I think there's this fear of taking away from live,
Yes.
taking away from. We don't want to take Outfit Wars, whatever it is, right? Um,
I was surprised they did
but
that
there's
because
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I was aware the sense I'd always gotten is that to pull players away from the live sandbox was a risk because that's where all the money was being made. That's where all that was the entire game.
But if you create something that is monthly or
Right. You
is every
restrict
two,
it.
3 months, but then it's like, but we got to grind up for this big event.
Yeah,
That's
you want to
actually
practice.
meaningful, that I'm not gonna get double teamed because it's a 3, but it's, like, something that, like, has meaning, but is also semi-balanced in whatever nature that is, even with
Yeah.
combined arms, that makes people play live more, right? We saw that with Outfit Wars, and then people realize, "Okay, maybe it's not what we thought it was gonna be, and we're gonna step back," or they burnt out or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so the idea there is okay, but, I do feel like there's this fear of losing people from live, but my thing is, like, something like Pill is what people want, a group of people want,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
And some people will just refuse to play live at all.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like if you're not gonna, does that make sense? Like, there's no fear of pulling people from live. I mean, I guess you could pull new players into it, and that takes from live, and all they want to do is Jaeger. But I feel like as a dev team, if you were to support that, make rewards for it, um, you could almost monetize it in a
Yeah.
way that it's not paid. But you know what I'm saying? You could almost like embrace it and then like bring it into the fold. Okay, fine. 700 people like to pay pill, but then out of those 700, 400 still play live. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I think part
I
of
don't
it
know. And
too.
again, but it's still high risk, right? I guess there's
Yeah.
risk there, but
Yeah, I think it's. I think that I'm guessing that part of it too has to do with just a knowledge of development resources. Like
I
what
was about to
can
say
you
that. Yeah,
do? And
very true.
if you're going to put time into something, you might as well put time into something that most players are going to get to experience. And this is one of the problems I see in actually other live services games. Another one that I really enjoy or have enjoyed in the past was Guild Wars 2, for example. Actually came out the same year as roughly the same time that PlanetSide 2 did. Um, and that's a game where they were not shy about bringing in new game modes, but a lot of them were brought in and kind of iterated on and kind of abandoned, and it created a
Right.
lot of these community silos where people really would attach to a certain way of playing the game, and then the developers forgot about them. And
Right.
what ends up happening then is the community kind of eats itself,
That's fair.
where I'm a I'm a PvPer or I'm a raider, and I don't like if I see raid content get released, it enrages me because there's not enough PvP content coming off of the game, and I'm competing for mommy's attention, right?
Makes sense. That's a great point.
Um, and
But we also have pill because we don't have anything else, and that's why I was hoping something like Outfit Wars, if structured correctly, even with 48 players, even with combined arms, could still be good
right,
ish, like Server
right,
Smash. That was the intention. Go ahead though.
yeah, no, man, absolutely. I guess where I come back on it is like, so I kind of got my start doing online gaming, playing community organized competitive games for an old Half-Life 1 mod called Team Fortress Classic.
I'm glad you
Um,
brought that up because we were talking about that before, and I was hoping we could hit on that. And great
yeah,
transition. Go ahead.
yeah, we can talk about it. And it really showed me the value of community run events. And it made me really respect what a community can do versus what a game developer can do. And I'm really
That's fair.
interested in picking apart what that should look like. Um, but basically to do a
That's
quick like
that's
history
fair. That's a toughie.
lesson.
That's a toughie.
Yeah,
Because
none of this.
they are so different. They're connected, but they are so different, and
Yeah, they
everyone wants
depend
something
on
different.
each other, but they can't do the same things. And in Planetside, I almost feel like there's this like just like there are three factions. Like there are three kind of like there's the game that developers are kind of responsible for. There's the like committed community where you have people who are leaning in and community leaders who are really putting in time, and you have the casual community of people who just like kind of show up and maybe play solo or join a casual or Zerg fair or something like that. And these three things are always bouncing off of each other and sometimes antagonistically. But going back to Team Fortress Classic, so this game comes out in '99. I start playing it on dial-up. I join a clan because I'm just playing on public servers. This is before any kind of matchmaking existed for any game, anywhere. And I just when playing on servers that people hosted out of the garages, and I'd see someone wearing a clan tag. I'm like, oh, a clan tag, that's pretty cool. That's a mark of status. I want to explore that, right? And
Mhm.
so I asked them, like, yeah, it's our clan. You can try out if you want. I'm like, ooh, there's like a tryout. I have to be good. That it intrigues me even more. I try out. I get in hindsight, realizing that they would take anybody, but whatever. Um,
Yeah, I understand.
that was my first gaming community. It didn't go well. I didn't like it, so I said, screw this. I'm making my own. And then I ended up running a clan out of that game. And this is a Team Fortress Classic is a team versus team capture the flag game. It's one of the oldest games that has a class based design in it. Um, and games were played of 9 players versus 9 players. So for a competitive format, in terms of like an esport, it's pretty big. But this is before esports were really viable for anybody. This is like early 2000s. But I
Okay.
ran that clan for 3 years, and during that time, I went from playing the game because I liked the game to playing the game because I liked the people. And those experiences, the 250 league organized matches that we had nothing to do with the guys who made the game. We were not taking anyone's table scraps. We were deciding the experience we wanted, and we were making it, and we were putting our own restrictions on the gameplay, and we were policing ourselves. We said, this is what makes for a good competitive experience. We're going to play it this way. There's just one class in the game called the Heavy Weapons guy. You can only have one per team, otherwise the game's a shit show. It's just too strong. So we restrict it. There's another thing too, is when you're playing capture the flag, you have teams from both sides that are trying to both defend their flag and get the other guy's flag. You quickly find out when you play this way that if the enemy's offenses, like if both teams' offenses shoot each other while they're going to the other team's flag, it creates kind of a shit show experience. Like it's not fun. You aren't actually playing the game. You're just kind of playing to meme on each other. And so the leagues would restrict that kind of interaction and police it. And most of my gaming buddies today are people who I played those games with back then. And I was actually talking to you about this before we started, right? Where does
Mhm.
my community come from? Like, how did I get started? And the simple answer is that one of my old clanmates messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey, come to Discord." I'm like, "Discord? Well, what's this?" Back in 2018. And there was a Team Fortress Classic community Discord, and I joined it, and I started finding my old clanmates and saying, "Hey, what's up?" And sure
That's
enough,
dope.
we'd all gone from being, high school and college age kids who knew how to use computers um, to being mostly married, mostly adults with mostly careers and lives and families in some cases. And we're like, holy shit, man! Like, what do you like now? And you find that it's the same person. They just had more life, and in a way, it's like the connections we can have now is a lot more interesting because we all have a lot more life under our belts.
Definitely.
That's the start of that community. And actually, when the world went to shit with COVID, someone from that wider community actually made a new baby competitive league for that game, and I'm casting matches each week for it,
Sweet.
just as a fun thing. But that community started from those people who understood the value of community agency in a video game and those personal connections. And yeah, we came together for games, but the reason we hang together, I think, is not because of those games. It's because like we're friends, and I want to know how they're doing. I want to share my life with those guys. Like they're my brothers.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good connection over. I mean, the whole Team Fortress competitively sounds you restricted things sounds like Pill a little bit, right?
yeah,
Eurodome, whatever.
I see
And like
echoes of that.
the community is kind of developed around that, right? There's Euros that I like, Zenora, Thel. I mean, you got people like saying like, and now they're in our team speak and they're playing different games, and like that has kind of built upon it. And like, yeah, there's
Yes.
a lot of memes around somebody like saying or somebody else, but sometimes you can have a serious conversation with people about just what's going on in your own life, or hey, what kind of job do you have? And like, people ask you questions about different things
Hmm.
outside the game, and then yeah, so I mean, you're building those relationships, and it's awesome, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess so. When I asked you, like, do you think that Pill is something that even Planetside the game should be doing, versus is it something that's best run as a community event? That's what I'm thinking of. And admittedly, it's a bit of a boomerish approach. Like, I don't think games can work that way anymore for the most part. Maybe like small niche games can, but gaming is such a big hobby that like the small tiny part of it that is like the players who would have taken the time to go through the massive funnel that it took to buy Half-Life, install it, set up an internet connection, connect to a server, message someone who's in a clan, download chat software to connect to them, go through their tryout process, figure out how to download a voice program, all on, like I say, before broadband was common.
Right, right,
It
right,
was
right.
it was a long filter. A lot of friction was applied. And it's almost like if you think about like a marketing funnel, like by the time you get to being in a match with someone, the people you're playing with are like well qualified, because if they didn't care, they wouldn't have bothered.
Right, 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 right.
And games now are trying to take that funnel and be like, hey, everyone can come in. Everyone, let's be part of the party. We want everybody. We don't want anyone to feel too much friction because they might leave, and that's bad. And at the same time, I also feel like there's a growing consciousness that, similar to what you say about having like an achievement, like what's the way to put it? Like a medal, you were calling it, getting medals, getting kind of losers trophies, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
the ribbon. Yeah, everyone gets a ribbon
Yeah, everyone gets
mentality,
a
right?
ribbon. It's similar to that kind of idea where everyone is treated as everyone is forced to be equal because you want everyone to be in there, and if they don't feel equal. But the truth is, in life and in games, not everyone is equal.
Right.
Anyway, that was a long ass rant.
No, no,
What do you
dude,
think?
I've had a lot of them. No, so a couple things to touch on there that I think are smart. I think you're right. Okay, something like Pill. Maybe maybe we don't want the devs to touch it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's not best for it. And I think the middle ground there is dev support.
Yeah.
We've got some of it. They've actually it's not a lot, but they have actually, the observer cams, the accounts. There's been friction there, obviously, but there has been tools provided, and obviously with dev resources the way they are, um, you know, what can they realistically create that's brand new that could help? Probably
Mhm.
not a lot. I mean, I'm sure they could, but like again, why are you going to do that? Why did Rel make me a gold anchor? Why is he good? That's on his own time essentially, right?
Uh-huh.
And then how are you going to get them to do that? So, but more tools or ways to help would be nice, but leave it in the community's hands. Support in the way that you can, which I think they're starting to do a little bit more, which is awesome. Again, we probably want more tools. When you're casting it, you can't see the enemies through the walls. Like you see other CS:GO, and like the ways they obviously have tools built around the competitive scene.
Right.
And I'm not saying we're going to get that from Planetside too. And those things would be nice, or whatever we can get that's more could be helpful, and then leave it in the hands of the community. Um, to the other, everyone gets a ribbon. They're opening these things up a little bit. That's what Lab's for.
Mhm.
Okay, I think Outfit Wars is a step in the right direction. And it is complicated, and it is huge, and it is, do we want combined arms? Do we want it to be 48 because we promised large fights? Do we want it to be,
Right.
how's it going to take away from live? There's a lot of things to think about. I get that.
It's
And I
complicated.
obviously, as a
Yeah.
player, simplify that, and I think I have all the answers. But I do think it's a step in the right direction. Like, you want to be casual, you want to be part of the 6,000 people in AOD. Okay, but then maybe AOD has the Reapers, right? They're better players, or the more players that want to
They
be a little
lean
more
in.
tryhardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you have a part of the community that wants to go to Outfit Wars, okay?
Mhm.
You can't bring 6,000 players or 1,000 players that are active, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So I think doing outfit wars is a step in the right direction because I think you open up even more, but it's also more narrow, and I think
Mhm.
that's okay. They don't need the whole live server to partake in that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's an okay idea to think about, and to even go back to the old question about Alpha Wars, what I think is the most important thing, and this goes back to really the whole part about Planetside or gaming in general or anything,
Uh-huh.
is keep it simple.
Okay.
The wheel works on my car. I'm not going to put a square wheel on it because it's 2025 and I need to have something new.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not going to get a 4,000 hertz monitor. Okay, just because it's 4,000 hertz monitor, that's I'm exaggerating, right?
Yeah.
Take stuff that works, keep it simple, and then expand upon it. Outfit Wars was like, dude, we're gonna do everything, and no one fucking uses construction on live, so we're gonna put it on Outfit Wars just to hope that people can use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, exaggerating. People use
They made a
construction.
mini live.
They just put everything on it, and they're like, okay, hope you guys win.
Yeah.
Or, like, just figure it out, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no, give us some direction, keep it simple, and then add stuff in. Oh, construction doesn't work? Okay, we'll take it out. That didn't work. Okay, we'll take pieces of it and we'll try that. Okay, that didn't
Yeah.
work or did work. We'll keep it. Start with what works and
Yeah.
then build upon that. That which goes back to my point of like really simple, consistent, decent updates that are in line with core gameplay.
Mhm.
And then if you want to test other things, put that on the side and bring those in as we go. But I think that would be much easier for Outfit Wars to build upon.
Sure.
But
So, like,
again, that's biased. But
I'm trying to think about, like, what that could have looked like for Outfit Wars. Like, what if they made Desolation, like, a live continent that there was a way to get on, reliably, and then they could play test the continent, and they could put certain rules on it, like, say,
it
full
it's a
construction, no
stressful thing to think
construction.
about. Right, right, right,
And
right, right.
I'm trying to think about, like, what that stepwise approach to Outfit Wars would be, and obviously, its identity is kind of up in the air at the moment. Um, it seems clear to me that it's best as an expression of the live sandbox, like a heightened expression of the live sandbox, because it clearly doesn't do what Server Smash was trying to do. It clearly doesn't do what Pill does. Um, and I guess the question in my mind is whether it needs to.
That's fair. That's fair. I think Service Mesh is a niche that you could play off of even more than the devs did, which I think
Uh huh.
it sounded good because they're like, we're going to do it. And then I feel like we didn't get almost any of that.
Yeah.
But you could take things that worked from it, things that work from live, and maybe try to mesh those. And maybe that's what we're doing. I don't know. And then we're just experimenting. The thing is, it's such a the idea of Outfit Wars and what you want that to be is just a battle in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's not an easy solution. I don't even have the solution for it, without it being Service Smash or Pill or something like that already, right?
It's something we've
Um,
already seen that we kind of know a little bit about. We've seen it go poorly. We've seen it go well. It
but I
works.
don't think the idea of Service Smash is a bad place to start, even if you were to go 48 v
Yeah.
48 instead of 400 v 400, because it's outfits, right? It's not servers,
Yeah.
right? It's outfit smash or whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like to play on that a little bit, which is kind of what they're doing. They just shrunk it to outfits, right?
Hmm.
Um, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it's something different when it's just outfit v outfit instead of outfit v outfit v outfit. I don't know. Maybe it
I
changes the
know.
whole dynamic of it.
I'm trying to think about what we know about what what we know about what RPG will be changing about Outfit Wars. I don't think they've been very, very open yet about what their goals are. Although I can say for sure that Rel did jump on my stream at one point and say that I think I said something to the extent of it seems like one of my only complaints about Outfit Wars at the time I was speaking was that not enough people got to experience it, and he said that will change.
Yeah, and I hinted on that as well. There's no DD12 literally was an outfit of like 12. I mean, it was a little bit more than 12
Uh
players. Okay, a
huh.
very small niche group. A couple of them come back, new leadership, whatever. They merge with 69 KD. They recruit all these people. They have like a platoon on live, maybe even more. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Just to try to get an outfit wars,
Yeah.
and they played like 12 hours a day. It was insane. I can't remember. Like I don't whatever, and they didn't get in.
Oh no,
It's like
that's sad. I didn't know that story.
Sounds like, and these are like, there's like actually good infantry players in here,
Yeah.
right? There's actually good A to G players in it. Like they got everybody, right? And then it's kind of like, wait, at the it doesn't even translate to Outfit Wars. It's like the way that you have to play, or the amount of people that you need to play to get into Outfit Wars, depending on how many Zergfits or whatever you have on that faction.
Yeah.
But that doesn't have anything to do with Outfit Wars. So I felt very like, if you want to be in it, and that's the thing. Like AOD doesn't even have to, like, they might sign up and then not give a shit about it, but they're gonna automatically win, or
Yeah.
be in the top 3, right? They don't even have to try.
Sure.
Um, so it felt very strange. I think about StarCraft 2. There's qualifiers for a reason, and you just go through the bracket and you win, and that's how you get in, right? You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
do some
Mm-hmm.
weird a ladder play that you have to do between 8 and 10 on Saturday. And it sounds like they're just gonna maybe scrap that and just do something much more like, if you want to play and you have the players to play,
You
maybe
can
they're
just
going to
sign
shrink it
up
from 48.
and get
Yeah,
a
you just
slot.
sign up, and then maybe we have a qualifier bracket if there's too many teams, right? Or
Yeah.
we just put you into the bracket like normal, which is a great idea because, like,
Yeah.
you get kept so many teams by doing it this weird way that didn't even relate to what Alpha Wars was. It was a very big disconnect that I'm happy
Yeah, the
they picked up
qualifications
on
and
and
the
talked.
mode itself. Yeah, especially the initial
Yeah,
iteration. I was riding along with B-Way during their qualification in the first Alpha 1 and watched people spend more than half, like, people put an insane amount of time. I think there are people who had like 3 days played in a 5-day period. Um it was bonkers. It was bonkers, man. It was not
well,
good.
also it led to burnout. Like, people went through it and they're like, okay, we're never gonna do that again.
Yeah,
Like, holy shit.
yeah,
But yeah,
like, okay, and this is going back to another kind of question I have about Outfit Wars is, um, I is the community clamoring for it to come back?
for Outfit Wars.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that the community's thirsty for it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was scared of. You gotta be careful dropping something and really hardcore testing it on a live server, and then the way that it's structured, you burned out a huge portion. I could see people, like, you revamp it, you make some good quality
Uh
changes that
huh.
people can get excited about, and then it's like, okay, well, it's been a month or two. It's like, I got burnt out. I'm willing to try this again or something like that. So
Yeah, yeah, especially for a dedicated player like you. Okay. Yeah, very interesting. I'm gonna be very excited to see when we start seeing news or hints about what the next iteration of Outfit Wars will be. I think unless they really go back to the drawing board, that we're kind of it's gonna be this mini live thing where it's 3 factions, which, as you say, is inherently not competitive. And if it's gonna be the best version of itself, maybe the thing to do is to not try to make it competitive and offer some other carrot to players. But then the question in my mind is if it's not if it's kind of a casual, not super competitive for fun thing, what would be the thing that would actually motivate outfits to go to the trouble of participating in it? What would that
I'm
need to
gonna tell you
be?
right now, off the rip, if it's not competitive, you just lost anyone that's left outfit wise that's competitive. Obviously, elite fit, small infantry outfit, and you lost of probably a majority of the mythics that are left that
If
have
it's not
any.
competitive
Because
though, like isn't that isn't it already not competitive? That's what I'm wondering.
what do you
Like
mean?
you talked about
It is though,
Planetside not knowing what it wanted to be, right?
right?
And I'm just kind of throwing a mental test balloon out there of let's say that Planetside knew that Outfit Wars was not going to be a sport. It's not going to be a sport. It's not going to be competitive. What else could it be? And how could it do that well?
That's a toughie, man. Because like that's so foreign to me and just my life in general. Because I am so competitive and like,
Okay.
and I ran into an issue at my old job
Yeah.
where if I work somewhere, I typically, especially career wise, I have a little bit of passion for the place of work that I'm
You
at,
seem
right?
like a
It's like
passionate
an
guy. Yeah.
yeah, well, thank you. It's like an outfit almost. It's like, it's the idea of like I'm going to connect with the people here. I'm going to, and it doesn't always happen.
Yes.
Um, but I did at my last job, and I was like very, I had a lot of friends there. I was on like, I suck at baseball slash softball, but I went to every game. I just got drunk and like and had fun time with like people there. And then it was like so mind boggling to me once I realized that some people just go to work, do the bare minimum, survive for the 8 hours, and go home. And they don't want
And eat potato
anything to
chips.
do.
Just fuck off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not even like weird people or anything like that. They're just normal people. They're like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to the softball game. I don't care. I'm just here to get my paycheck and leave. And that is something that is so like foreign to me, which obviously you're seeing with my, with my ideas and my viewpoint, that
Yeah.
it's a very, it's hard for me to be like, so it's just casual. And I do casual things like Among Us or whatnot, but most of the time I want, there's usually a win condition.
Uh-huh.
And when you incorporate a win condition, like I think about when I go to the pool or something, I just
Mhm.
play in the pool. There's no win condition, right? That's casual.
Yeah.
But when you have a winner and you have a loser or losers in this scenario, it inherently becomes competitive to me.
Mhm.
How can you have a winner and a loser and it's not competitive?
Even to the extent
I
that
mean,
you will create a competition if the win conditions aren't either clear enough or interesting enough.
right. And I think there's different levels of competition.
Yeah.
You throw money at you, tell me you win, you get $10,000.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Now everything's on the table. Now I'm $100,000. Now I'm training. Now I'm spending a lot of time on it. It's casual in the sense that there's no money attached to it, or there's no
Mhm.
reward. Like
Mhm.
there's no reward in pill, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's casual in a sense, and I'll play it accordingly. I have a family. I'm not going to devote too much time to the idea of pill because the win condition, right? Of what is being presented.
You
And
gotta
so I'm gonna
balance it.
do,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not gonna have 3 scrims a day and practice for 4 hours a day. We're not gonna do that because it doesn't make sense for the win conditions, right?
Right.
So I think there is different levels of competition,
Yeah.
okay? Even to the degree of outfit wars. But then you throw in 3 factions, it becomes just a weird, it feels weird to where I don't want to touch it, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of other outfits don't want to touch it.
The win
And if other
conditions
outfits
seem a
don't
bit
touch
muddy.
it, and you shrink the pool of, not desire, but what's the intrigue, interest. You shrink the pool of interest.
Yeah. And if
Okay,
you
now it's
do that,
AOD versus DAP versus, or versus
yeah.
SKL versus whatever NC has,
Yeah,
NCCR,
if it's just a bunch of big Zerg bits kind of smashing at each
or
other,
just 3 outfits every time. Like that dies out. Like
yeah,
there's no
people
viewership.
will
There's no
stop
nothing.
tuning into it, and
Right.
that's I think one of the things that makes competitive events so interesting, and I've seen this in my little bit of TFC casting experience in this pandemic league I've been playing in or casting in, is the player stories. And you don't build good player stories from an I don't care, I'm just here to put in my time mentality, or I'm just here to get my ribbon mentality. I have a similar. I wish I could provide a better counterpoint to you here because I'm the same kind of guy you are. I don't understand people who just show up and turn their brains off. I don't know why you'd want to do that. It seems like an abdication of life almost.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Real life bleeds into, some people are like, dude, some people work 3 jobs, work 15-hour days, whatever it is, and then they don't care about trying hard at Planetside
Well, people
too.
like
I'm like,
that
yeah, I get it.
need it. They need to just
Yeah,
relax.
right,
Absolutely.
right. But they're
Um,
also not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go to Outfit Wars. No, I have live, right? Like that's the disconnect that I'm seeing here. Is like we're creating a
yeah.
separate event, but why? To be casual? We already have casual.
And most of my friends won't play a game like Planetside because it requires so much of that intrinsic internal motivation. They're gonna play the AAA titles that are coming out that interest them. They're gonna play Last of Us. They're gonna play The Witcher. They're gonna play Cyberpunk when it comes out. Like they're gonna do the tour of easy, high stimulating to consume, not personally challenging. There are exceptions. Like a good chunk of my buddies from that TFC community played through Doom on Nightmare, the new Doom on Nightmare. But they are all ex-competitive shooter players, so that was kind of like almost like a throwback experience to challenge themselves that way. But most people, it's just like it's in a way, it's kind of thrilling because it shows that the hobby of gaming has gotten so big that it's not just like the try-hard, sweaty nerds that are going to be bothering to invest themselves like it was back in those TFC days. Um, but I think what it all kind of comes back to for Planetside is that question of identity that you raised. I think very rightly. What does Planetside want to be? When I spoke with Rel, we talked about how the escalation update expanded the sandbox of Planetside, brought in a lot of new toys for players, which I think is for the sandbox is always valid. New tanks, a huge new airship that's exciting for everybody. I'm not sure how excited people still are for Bastions, but
Well, that's the other
um,
thing. How long does that excitement last for what you're offering and bringing into the game? Yeah, it was exciting. And they do the trailers very well. Whoever does trailers for Planetside does well,
yeah, I
I will
agree.
say.
I agree.
They create good hype.
And
Um,
mhm.
Go ahead. Let you
Oh,
finish your
I was
point.
just going to relate that to another comment that Rel actually one of the places where he really stopped me in my tracks in that interview, and I wish I did a better job of tunneling into it, was when we started talking about the actually what he was teasing the forthcoming campaign and mission system that we got to see on Friday.
Hmm.
And he asked me, what do you think about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation? About people who are internally motivated versus people who are motivated by having, a carrot to chase or something like that. And the sense that I got from him, he didn't say it, but the sense that I got from him is that he prefers games that surface intrinsic motivations in people. People who want to get 100,000 anchor kills, maybe, versus games that kind of lead you along by the nose and say, "Oh, go do this, go this, go do this, go do this." And I don't know if the mission system is like and the campaign system is like his favorite thing to be working on, even if he may recognize its utility and importance. But I think that it's a worthwhile question, and I don't know. I feel that there's an eternal dance in games between games and dedicated gamers of can you give me enough of a structure to build interesting to express my intrinsic motivations in to engage players like you and maybe like myself too. Um, or is it just a case of people are going to obsess over what they're going to obsess about and you have no control over it? Or do you just respect the dollar bill and make gameplay for people who want to spend daybreak cash? I mean, at the end of the day, um,
It's a business.
it's a business, and I'm sure RPG has data on the types of players who spend money.
For sure.
I've been
For sure.
public in saying that whenever I play the game, I support it because I
Hmm.
like to. It's part of how I invest myself into a game. Part of it is my time. Part of it is my money, and because streaming and talking to people is my side gig, I can do that. Um,
Right.
and it makes the game more fun for me. Um, but
I'm,
yeah, jump in.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think about streaming. I think about Twitch. I think about what drives views. Content being one of them. So Tim Tatman, Fall Guys, not competitive game, right? I mean, there's a
Yeah.
winner. Um, that's content, right? Him not winning a match for X amount of time, right?
Okay.
Um, Nets him his highest viewership, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so that's one side of it, which in a lot of the ways PlanetSide does it's hard to offer that. Okay, and it's so
Those
niche
kinds of big
inside of the
moments.
game,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like, okay, I love infantry, elite infantry, so I'm gonna watch Aeflic or I'm gonna watch Zyros, Leroy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lex. But I don't care what AOD's platoon leader is doing on Twitch, so I'm not gonna watch that, right? So it's hard to transition over to that. Or like I don't care about pilots, and there's a pilot streaming, okay? So I don't go to his stream. And so you
Yeah.
have these like different bits. So PlanetSide Twitch struggles, I think, for viewership because of that, because it's hard to connect those communities together. Um, but then I think somebody like Nick Mark, a big streamer, so we'll use like Narks, right? But like they have good views, but then like they do a tournament, right?
Mhm.
That generates more views. It's
Mhm.
competitive. A lot of those people that are watching are casual,
Mhm.
but it does drive views.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think something like Pill at 250 views, probably the largest thing in the last several years besides established streamers like Winter Gaming coming over.
Yeah. Or dev
It
streams.
gets it
Yeah.
or dev streams that's going to generate views, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's something that like makes me think that like that's something that the community wants. And maybe the data says that majority of Planetside 2 Twitch viewers are elite infantry players. Okay, what
Hmm.
maybe that's what it is. But I compare it to other streamers and what generates their views. So it's either really good content that's funny and engaging, and like that's down to the streamer, not so much the gameplay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim Tatman wasn't winning, so it became like a meme and funny
It's a
thing. Everyone's
story.
talking about it,
Yeah.
right? And maybe he leans into it a little bit, maybe he doesn't, whatever, I'm sure. I mean,
And he also
that's I
already
mean,
had a huge community. It's not like he's an overnight
correct.
success story from that.
Right, but he just still blew up beyond what he's
Yeah.
normal, like, going over 100,000 is big, right, for him, or
Yes.
was.
Yes.
Um, but then I look at somebody like Nick Merckx, it's like, okay, he's playing COD all the time, okay?
Hmm.
No tournament, he has good viewership, tournament hit that goes up, right?
Hmm.
People like competition, whether or not they're good at it, whether or not they participate in it, whether or not they can or cannot
Yeah.
participate in it. And that drives views, right? And views is money for him in that
Yeah.
scenario. So I think about and maybe I'm going way too crazy with this, but I think about Planetside. I think like, okay, Pill creates views. Outfit Wars, if you structure it correctly, could create views. It could be something that works. Why are we streaming it? Why are we trying to get, we're Archie streaming it. We're bringing these people in. Planetside 2 devs are bringing these people in to support it. Why are we supporting it if it's casual? Like, what what I'm saying? So, like, if and maybe this is again too much thought here, but
No, keep going.
we're trying to get somewhere,
Hmm.
but that somewhere with what we have doesn't ever seem to work in most places. We know
Yeah.
what works is like competitive scenes, tournaments, or really good content.
Right.
We know that Outfit Wars off the rip is not going to provide good content. It's being tested on live essentially, right? It's the first. It's off. It's not the 30th Call of Duty.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so like I see that's where I feel like my dad is coming from almost is like these things work. We have proof that works. At least on Twitch, we
Right.
see. But why are we not trying that in a more structured, restricted way
So
that's different?
your
I don't know. Maybe that's I
question.
don't know. I'm kind of whatever.
No, no, it's worthwhile, man. I think you're driving at something that is interesting and worth exploring.
Well, it
Let me
goes back
let
to my
me see
point
if
of I don't think it should be casual. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Let me see if I can rephrase the question and see if I understand. Um, so you've observed correctly, by the way. I've also shared this observation that competition drives views. Events drive views like this. Um, you saw it with Pill, a few hundred viewers, which while that's really remarkable for Planetside, in the grand scheme of things, it's not great.
Correct.
Okay. So just gotta be honest about that. But you are correct in saying it did create a high point of community streams for the game. And for me, I mean, just side note, those streams look fucking great. Like whoever did the work on those overlays, bang up job. So I think what you're asking is why doesn't Daybreak Games, the publisher, or Rogue Planet Games, the developer, find a way to drive Twitch viewership, which drives interest in the game using competition? Is that
Right.
what you're
Well, the
asking?
reason I use Twitch is because it's 2020. Everyone's on Twitch now.
Well, Twitch is huge. It's important,
Right. So
especially for
not even
free
so
to
much
play
like it
games.
drives viewership, but like we know that like people like competition. People like to like watch it. People like to partake in it, and it's been like that since forever, right? Regardless of what it is.
Uh huh.
Um, Even like a casual game like Fall Guys, right? I mean, maybe that was a meme when they're talking about the esport team thing part of it, but like they even have like competitions in that essentially. Like that's something that's casual but still can be competitive in a way. And I'm just saying, like, what I feel like there's a disconnect where sometimes with Planetside, it's like we know it can work. And I guess they test it with MLG, so maybe I'm just crazy. And they're like, we don't want to go down that path again. And it's working ish the way that it is, and then maybe they're content with it. Maybe it's not even a question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe it's just something that I'm too passionate. I want too badly that I'm too narrow minded and
You want to
on the
see more of,
focus
of the
of it.
competitive thing come out because you like it, it's good. You see people resonate with it, and you wonder why there isn't more
And it can
effort
still be
being put into
casual,
it.
yes. By nature, though, it doesn't have to be no maxes, no air. Like you don't have to put Server Smash was not my ideal
Isn't
Pale 6v6.
Yeah, isn't Outfit
but I
Wars
liked it.
supposed to be that though? Wasn't Outfit Wars exactly what you're talking about? Like a casual, stream friendly kind of competitive thing?
Yeah, but I just don't. There's no traction to be gained there. 'Cause and it's tough though, because it's like in Service Smash struggle with this. Like, how do you stream that? How do you there's battles
Yeah,
going all over the map, right?
yeah.
So
It
it's like
it is
you're
hard to
at this battle, but
capture.
you're missing what's going over there, right? And now you introduce a third element to it,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, with a third element, you're trying to promote this, right?
Hmm.
By streaming it and bringing people in to stream it for you. But then it becomes this whack a mole game of like, all these guys at this base, we go here, now they're not here, now they're over here. The first intro of it, you drive into a base and you're capping the points, and there's no action
Hmm.
off the rip. You know what I'm saying? Like those.
It's hard to. Yeah. I found that the best way to watch those VODs of the first Outfit Wars games were actually to watch player VODs with comms in them.
Exactly.
The
But my
comms
point is,
were
like, why even care if it's casual? Competition naturally drives desire, and you start like
yeah.
oh, like, like, oh, LeBron James, like you start getting with players like saying like people like there's Leroy or et cetera, et cetera. Like you can like get behind people and like cheer for people or be excited for people. And when it goes too casual, there's almost like, why do I care about this?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Why am I watching? I want, Bax is gonna fight Outfit from Miller, and we want
hmm
Bax is representing Emerald, so we want them to win, or just
hmm
weird things like that. And again, maybe I'm going too deep with it, and they're slowly going to get there, and by testing.
yeah.
I don't. We can go to a different topic, by the way. We don't have to stay on this one. This
That's okay,
one's.
man.
I
I'm
don't mind.
trying to stand up and answer to your question and see how it matches up. Um, why doesn't Planetside lean into its potential as a competitive game? It's actually a good question. And
Just
actually,
more competitive and more like not necessarily a competitive game because like it
more
isn't
competitive though.
necessarily that.
I think that
Right.
actually it's I think it's actually much more competitive than people give it credit for in a lot of ways. And I think that one of the easier
That's fair.
ways to capture that is by looking at the new player experience. The new player experience for most people is either I solo and I get killed by Planetside gods like Aeflic, who's probably his next 100,000 kills, or maybe if I'm lucky, I find a community who will take me and let me zerg around and then talk shit about people who are Planetside gods. And then there's the whole big grug versus little grug kind of animosity, right? And I
Which I think
know,
is good for the game ultimately
yeah,
because
probably.
it creates competition there, right?
Right.
In a way. I have
Yeah.
more players to shoot and kill, and I can rack up high numbers and maybe cap the base, and then you're trying to put me down because I'm a hacker
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, Lex in chat made a really good point that I want to riff off of, saying the vast majority of player base sees the word competitive as a bad word. I think that there's some truth to this. And I also think that it doesn't have to be this way. So I'm going to compare this to, again, back to Guild Wars. If you don't know anything about Guild Wars, one of the most important thing to know about it is it was designed from the get-go to be the anti-MMO. And what it means when it says anti-MMO is it's all about skipping the shitty parts of an MMO. It's about skipping drama, skipping grinding, skipping all the things that are perceived to be bad or negative or drive people away from MMOs, but give you the payoffs. You get to fight dragons with other players. You get to get loot. You get to progress. That I think over time, and the guy I talked to last week, Mighty Teapot. We actually had a really great segment on that about the toxic casuals of Guild Wars 2, which is exactly the kind of concept that Lex is pointing out. Is that if
Yeah,
you
people
make
don't talk about that. They
well,
don't
it's
talk about it.
dangerous to. It's dangerous to. You get eviscerated if you talk about this topic. But if you create a game that is always trying to find ways to make it more, boy, how do I even put this?
If you have a competitive event like Outfit Wars,
If
you
you
don't have to protect commit. You just play on live. You want to be casual, you go to live. You should
if you
have. There should
take
be some avenue to feed
yeah,
competition
it's kind of like
because you have those players in any game you have.
if you take all the corners, if you pad all the corners on the playground and prevent any child from falling over by constantly hovering over it in case it should lose balance. If you do all these things to protect the new player from having a bad experience, you also prevent them from having experiences that will point out to them how they can actually improve, or what the game is actually supposed to be about. So you make it possible for a new player to jump into a max suit every single time they spawn. Oh, this is a max game. This is my max game. I'm going to play in a mech suit. Rather than saying, no, this is a game about combined arms. It's a game about hardcore infantry dominance in a brutal sandbox that's punctuated by force multipliers like tanks and planes and, bastions or whatever.
If they were assets, it would work better. Can I touch on two things here real quick?
All right.
Sorry, I know this is...
No, do it.
Man, I'm trying to keep things in my brain and I know
I
you're probably doing
respect
the
it.
same thing.
I keep a notepad.
Yeah, it's smart. I have nothing here, so
Lessons
I guess I use
learned,
my
man.
computer. By protecting the new player experience, I feel like you've made it worse. I'm gonna tell you right now, I guarantee you, and you don't have the data on it. I guarantee you, I have made less people rage quit this game, uninstall, never play again,
Mm-hmm.
than a new player going to a 70-30 overpop fight,
Mm-hmm.
walking out of the spawn room and dying. What just
Scat
killed me?
max,
A bastion.
blam.
A bastion.
Or a bastion.
Or no, an orbital strike. Or I'm gonna tell you right now,
Orbital
it's
strikes
not
are
me.
crazy
It's
right
not.
now.
Yeah, it's not. Dude, 4, 5, 6 at one base. I can get away from that. I understand that. I'm gonna tell you right now, Lex is not making people quit the game. Not
Yeah.
just because he's not playing the game very often. It's not Leroy. These are not, the big rug theory is not why people are quitting this game. People don't like that. If anything, people are like, I want to kill this dude. He's a hacker. I want to kill this dude because he's better than me. Or in my mindset, that's my mindset. Could be wrong about this. But I'm telling you, there are way more annoying things than dying to me 6 times at a base.
Yeah. Actually, I talked about this.
And usually I die a lot. Like, I play super aggressive. I'm not super passive. I'm like trying to get like the highest KD or something. I like KPM, okay, whatever.
Shift
But a lot
W,
of the time,
baby.
like, people kill me. Like a trashy player kills me, or gets me with a shotgun, or gets behind me, or I overextend. Like, so I create a little bit of like good friction, or whatever the opposite of that is. Like I like I die too, so it's not like I'm invincible, like or anything like that.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's good. Again, I'm trying to even like in a way help. In a way, I try to challenge myself. But that's my point, though. It's not me that's making people, that the new player experience that's bad is walking out of the spawn room and getting deleted 17 times in a row, doing absolutely nothing. You don't even know where it's coming from. Oh, it's way up there in that
And the
huge
infantry
ship.
gods aren't
How do I
doing
get that? Oh, I'm on an outfit leader. I can't pilot the bastion. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
That's again what we're not talking about.
And
we're
again,
protecting the new player experience by letting them shit on new players.
And actually,
with more new players than what the new players on the other side are doing. What?
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think that you make a really good point.
Not you. I'm
I
just
get
saying
it.
in general.
The capital U. I get what you're saying. I don't take it personally. I think you're right. I think that there's obviously an opportunity to improve the way that force multipliers interact with infantry and with each other by some kind of restriction that's more so than it is today. But I guess the thing that I find particularly disappointing is that the game doesn't lean into that part of its nature. I almost feel like I want Planetside to tell a story of itself. It's more like we're the Dark Souls of MMO shooters. Like, don't come here if you don't want to die.
Literally,
you should get an achievement for your first 1,000 deaths.
Literally Tarkov.
Yeah.
Competitive by nature because it has to be. There's no. I mean, okay, maybe you complete a couple quests. Okay, whatever. But it's competitive by nature.
And
that's
Tarkov
the entire of the game.
knows what it is,
but
isn't it made by one guy or something crazy?
He has a team. He hired, I think, 100 people. I can't remember. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
Nikita
I don't know.
is the guy. He may have started it, and then it got too big, right?
Right.
With hackers and all this, they had to bring in more people to combat the popularity of it. And it's popular. It's competitive.
Huge.
It is only competitive, or it's majority, 90%, whatever. I don't know. Competitive, and it's
high
huge.
stakes. Yeah.
And it has bugs like Planetside. It has issues like Planetside. But guess what? It's competitive, but it works. Back to my whole point of like Twitch streamers that are in a tournament have more views. Like,
yeah. And the question is like, if you tell a story of a hardcore Planetside, it's a game where it knows how hard it is I just realized that the Planetside soundtrack has been playing this entire time on the stream.
Nice. Maybe
I
that's not
might
nice. Is it loud?
It's very quiet, I think. The streamers
Okay.
people on stream can let me know. I'm gonna turn that off now. Anyway, it won't be on YouTube. But I fantasize about Planetside 2 Dark Souls, like not like any of Dark Souls mechanics, but in its messaging. Um, I almost quit Planetside 2 after I started it because I was so bad and so frustrated. And I didn't have the best computer when I started. Sapper Soul says it's soothing. I'll send you a link to the soundtrack. You can listen to it on Spotify while we talk.
I was close to quitting too. Like fighting against Lex and AC was painful, man. But it
Brutal.
also I got to the edge of quitting. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to get better, and then I got better. I asked questions. I'm like, hey, you're a jerk. Can you help me out at all, though? You've
Yeah.
been dunking on me. You've V6ing. Can
Yeah.
you tell me? Are you hacking or you're not
So
hacking?
like,
Okay.
what are the paths? Like, one path is this is hard, but I'm gonna find a way. Like, I'm gonna find something to hang on to that I can improve. I can see the results. Or the other way is this community based thing, and this is one of the arguments that when Sirius and I had our talk, he kind of argued for is that some people just want to have a fun community experience. They want to be in a war, um, and I certainly recognize that, and it is definitely true. And I think it's hard to speak to the community that feels that way because I think that by necessity those players are generally not as interested in these having these conversations because they're a little more come and go about the game and a little less attached to it being any one way or the other because as long as they can jump in and have their war. um but yeah, Planetside could market itself and sell itself as a game that is going to blow your brains out. And the only way that you're going to enjoy it is if you're a bad enough dude to gut through
In
it,
a way.
connect
Yeah.
with
But
people.
it's okay to have banshee mod. It's okay if your outfit's larger than Bax or AC and you fight them with more pop. But like we could, there's ways to like corral a little bit more better for everyone. That's all I'm saying. And I don't
Yeah.
mean to, I'm cutting you off here. I'm just adding these
You
things
know,
in as I go.
you have this idea you really like. I can hear that about the resources and the multipliers, and I hear that's really important to you.
Well, like people talk about the new player experience. We talked about this on stream. It was a discussion for sure. Everyone wasn't like,
I
"You're
hate
right."
this topic, by the way. New player experience. I think it's the worst topic.
Well, it's like, oh man, like we're not teaching players how to crouch. I don't think people know that left click shoots and right click aims on. We need to really like that's super exaggeration again. Like, but people aren't logging out because they don't know how to play an FPS game or they don't know how to deploy the Sunder.
I mean,
Okay.
I think that there's like probably some use in telling players how to navigate around Araxis, how to find fights. Like
Yes,
that's good. Like that's
a simple tutorial is fine, and then building upon that. And like, yeah, outfits like kind of have a responsibility to help out. Or Tarkov though says, dude, here you go. And oh, if you die, you lose all your shit. You don't have a lot of shit to start with.
good luck.
So yeah,
Figure it out,
you know
maybe.
what I mean? Like that's when I realized because I was like kind of like yeah, I guess the new player experience could kind of suck. But then I was like, then I played Tarkov. And I was like, oh, okay, no, never mind, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's hardcore, and it works, and people love it, and people play it, and people buy it.
Hmm.
And now the whole free to play, pay, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, new player experience it's not. I don't know how to crouch. I don't know how to play Sunder. You learn that. That's part of the fun of the game of exploring something new. Oh,
Hmm.
oh, that's a teleporter. That takes me over here now. Okay, now I can do that. I can take that to all the other bases that have
Teleporters.
teleporters, right? But just
I
that
don't know,
like
man. That's a
natural
rough one.
progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is though.
Yeah.
But it's a fun like natural thing instead of like orbital strikes and bastions killing. That's the new player experience that we don't want
Yeah.
to talk about. Is how rough is it, and how balanced is that in that new player experience. And to your point with Guild Wars 2 and these other games that are trying to get rid of these are the anti MMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate grinding, but sometimes when you take out that journey to get to the end game
You're
or
the
to
ultimate
get there,
grinder.
uh, but it's natural. So how do I get 100,000 anchor kills?
Uh huh.
Do I have to fly around in my Reaver? Do I have to go pick up a letter from point B? No, I just shoot people and I naturally progress.
Okay.
by doing what I enjoy. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so that's why I don't like directives, but I don't mind farming 100,000 anchor kills or
So
200,000. You know,
you are not achievement driven, as in if the game stands up a goal, like you can be like, whatever. I know what motivates me, and I'm gonna go for what motivates me. You're
yeah, or
internally
shiny
driven.
gold
You have intrinsic
anchor
motivation.
works. Yeah, you gave me a word for it. That works too. And directives
You didn't need it
have
though.
those.
That's the sense I get. Is
Okay,
you didn't need the gold
yeah,
anchor to do it.
I didn't. I didn't. It's something I wanted though, but I didn't need it.
It's a cool
Obviously, because I didn't
totem,
think I was going
man.
to get it. It is. It
Yeah.
is. But like the Firestorm implant, and we're jumping all over the place, but I don't care. You're telling me an infantry only implant. We talked about this on the podcast.
Firestorm, right?
An infantry,
Mhm.
yes, and it was supposed to be OP at the start, or is really strong, and people weren't sure, right?
Mhm.
So potentially, it was something that I was going to have to get for an infantry player for an infantry only implant. Mechs can't even use it.
Mhm.
But you're going to tell me I need to get vehicle assists or kills or max kills?
Yeah.
You're talk about forcing players to do things. What? If it's an infantry only, it should be infantry, or at least give me. If it's going to take me 5 out of 7 options, 5 of those options had better damn well be infantry options. I should not have to. What if I? Could you imagine? They're like, hey, to get this max weapon that you just have to have, you have to pilot a lib solo and then use the Dalton and get 30 ESF kills. Okay, well, no one's gonna fucking get it except for like 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make the things connect and make sense, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That
No,
one just was a mind boggled
I agree with you
one for
there.
me.
That was a miss. Um, Either a miss in that they stood up the wrong implant for the event, or they give the implant the wrong achievement. I also don't like the fact that they introduced a power increase that's FOMO,
Oh yeah.
even though Rel did say that it would come back later. I still think that's kind of iffy.
Well, I
Um,
just don't force me to play anything else. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's all.
interesting.
It's weird.
That attitude of "don't force me to play anything else" sounds a little bit like those Max guys and those Banshee Mosquito guys.
But they can play that if they want to. They just might not be able to. There's risk and reward, like anything.
If you had to, okay, so I'm gonna throw out a thought experiment for you, Aeflic. Tell me what you think.
Okay.
What if you had to draw down on infantry resources every time you wanted to pull a heavy assault? And in order to earn
Okay.
those resources, you had to play the other infantry classes: light assault, medic, engineer, infiltrator, or maybe infil and heavy are the two ones. I don't know. Whatever. Um, in
I would
order
I
to
would I would 100% still do it.
okay,
I just don't play a lot of medic because 30 round from my playstyle just does not. I can't. I'm limited in what I can do in regards to people that I
you
can
can't shift
shoot.
plus W
But
with that kind of a mag. Yeah,
right, so it's just or if I had a max,
yeah.
without C4. But I don't mind. I enjoyed medic. I didn't res a lot of people because I forgot or I
It's
was
a
too
fun
far forward and
class.
there's
It's
no one to
strong
res.
too.
I've started to, and I was so committed to the anchor grind, I couldn't play anything else.
Yeah,
I literally
yeah.
stopped shooting the decimator because like that's or using the pistol because I'm gonna get kills on that when I could get kills
You're
on anchor.
losing
I
an
was like,
anchor
okay.
kill if you do that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, when you're talking 200,000,
Opportunity
it is
cost.
it's a lot
It's
of
a
yeah.
numbers game, baby.
We gotta
Yeah.
crunch some numbers here.
Oh yeah.
But I've started to play light assault. I suck at bolting. I hate getting bolted more than anything, but I can't do it, dude. I suck really bad. But I was still
Is
like,
that
okay, guys, you guys ready for me to pull my bolt out? And it's like miss, 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 dead. But I like light assault, and it,
bolting looks really fun. I wish I was good at it too.
yeah. I mean, CQC bolting is a skill,
Yeah.
whether or not it's annoying, but it is a skill, and I respect CQC bolters. If you're on the hill 400 meters away, like okay, go kill yourself. But
Eh,
CQC, fine. I like light assault. I don't mind medic. Engineer, I actually had fun with in regards to its quick ability, but those are support
okay.
roles. It's not my nature.
So like
Um,
if you were forced to engage with this kind of a progression
well, I told you. No, I told
scarcity
you.
mechanic in order to get to what I see as your chosen playstyle, you would engage with it.
Yeah, what do the infantry players use all the times that are, that got nerfed eventually? Medikits.
Yeah.
Hey, those used to be infantry resources. Okay,
Yeah.
well, guess what? We don't. I'm only getting 5 infantry resources. It costs 50 for a medkit. Maybe we need to go cap some bases with infantry resources. I'm willing for a compromise.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to play the objective to get my infantry resources so I can get medkits. I'm willing to take a hit if everyone else is taking him out. Just saying, like, I need to farm up more players, and to do that, I want you to get rid of these things that are bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
And Rel said on my stream before, if he were to get rid of everything that everyone complained about, and I talked about this on my stream, bro, well, I'll find something I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I'll I'll complain about something else. That's just a matter of fact. We're complainers by nature. We're gonna find something we don't like, and we're gonna complain about it. I'm not saying remove all these things, but I do think the structure and the balance of them is a little bit off.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree.
That's
I
all.
mean, I like the proposal of your system of
Well,
scarcity.
it builds upon itself to make something greater.
Yeah, I respect it, dude. I think it's a good idea, and as a potential like part two for the the resource system, it's worth pursuing. But I actually want to come back to talking a little bit about my least favorite topic, the NPE new player experience. One of the things that I'm reading up in the chat and seeing Alex talking about how how tutorial doesn't solve problems. People seem to think it does. I actually really agree with that.
That's what we're
Um,
talking about. Yeah, I agree 100%.
I think that a little. Actually, this is one of the questions I posed to Rel when I talked to him. Isn't there a ceiling on the impact a tutorial can have? Um,
Yeah, and it's very to me is very short
yeah, it's not a high ceiling. I think
because
too.
games with no tutorial do very again. We'll use Tarkov does do very well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's an FPS. You know how to click and shoot and zoom in and crouch. Usually, it's 99% of the time it's C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can learn how to deploy a Thunder. You can learn how to teleporters. You can learn how to navigate through the bases and whatnot. Okay, Uh,
Yeah.
making a tutorial for each base and how to navigate the bases and what and the ways to go. That's you learn that. You can't do 400 bases. What? No. Um,
Yeah.
the new player experience. Well, if, man, I had something right there on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, catch it, chase it. New
I'm gonna
new
have to
player
wait for it to come up.
experience. Okay. Yeah, it'll come back. Don't worry about it too much.
But it's a point I really want to drive on it though. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I think about Planetside. I think about and two things here. I want you to remind me of combined arms
Yeah.
and new player experience. We'll come back to combined arms.
Hit it.
I think, oh man, oh my god, look at the trailer. Look at all this fighting going on. Two faction, three faction. This is all these players. I
Mm-hmm.
spawn into the game. Instant action takes me to, um, 90% friendly NC pop fight. I'm a new player. I don't know as I go there. I'm running around like, where the is everybody? It's like Jurassic Park. Like, oh, here's a T-Rex. It's like, oh, there's a fucking sheep right there, dude. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to shoot people. It's an
Yeah.
FPS.
Yeah.
I get there's a bunch of my guys there, or I go to the 112, or I go to a fight where everyone's in the spawn room. I'm not getting any kills. I'm just clicking on the spawn room. I'm like, what? Then I get
Mm-hmm.
pain feeling. I get closer. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we shelling this? What the are we doing here? Stall. That's new player experience.
Yeah.
And then in a nutshell, I could dive and show you a million other examples of why that's weird or bad. And that's anyway. Combined arms. Combined arms, great. Talk about my stream all the time. Combined arms sounds cool. It's good. And honestly, in Surf Smash, it worked for a limited amount of time with the air balls.
Mm-hmm.
They go at each other.
Mm.
So the infantry can do their thing on the ground. Now, what would happen is that one airball would win and they would snowball, which is why assets would be nice because if you lose your Banshee, then you go on the ground and you're stuck down here for a while until we get more resources to get you back up there. Okay. And it kind of happened like that, but it was kind of more one sided. So I think restricting it would maybe work. But anyway, combined arms on live. How many times have you played Planetside live combined arms where it's like, oh shit, we have 15 tanks, they have 12, they have a repair bus, they got an HG Mossy coming down, but my Reaver comes in, intercepts it, kills it,
Mm-hmm.
backs it off, and there's like a bunch of Reavers and Mossy's going at it, and then we have the infantry going back and forth. No, that
Yeah.
might happen every once in a while and it's great. No, combined arms is we have 80% overpop and we're gonna shit down your neck in the spawn room until we take the base, and you don't have any combined arms. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. You just have infantry. Oh, you pulled one Reaver? Well, we just blew the out of it. Thank you for those resources. That
Yeah.
is how the community has taken it in a way, right? Or just how things have played out. I think
Yes.
originally the idea of combined arms makes sense. You want domains fighting domains and interacting with
Yeah.
each other a little bit. Not
That
all domains interacting with infantry domain.
that scripted
That's where the
combined
infantry
arms fight that you described, yes, is what
that's
everyone
awesome.
wants.
That's cool. And maybe the HG comes down and kills me. It's like, whatever, he got through. Cool. Or my outfit can have like I can get some fighter planes up there and they can back them off so when I spawn back in I don't have to worry about them or
Yeah.
something, right? More of those 50% of the time, great, maybe, right? But the fact that it's so one-sided now, that's why the infantry community is jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Banshee Mozzie versus me on the ground, and there's no asset management, no resource management between you pulling the Banshee all the time because you want to pull it, and you
Mm-hmm.
can just farm me into dirt. And they're not even that useful fights. I should have A2G at the 30% fight on my side, helping me out. No, actually, it's at the 70%. It's on the
Mm-hmm.
70% side, where it's not even needed. And so that interaction just doesn't transition well. The way the domains interact is just weird. And that's why, again, infantry players are jaded. Banshee Mozzie, right? That used to be overpowered, explosive rounds. It was like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, they have toned things down, thankfully. Thank you, Rel. Libs used to be nutty, bro, back in beta.
Mm-hmm.
They have toned things down. I don't have a fuck. I have to kill you pretty much with the decimator. I had to get lucky. Okay? I don't have some OP weapon that I'm farming air with or backing air up with because I want to play infantry all the time. Therefore, I should be able to shoot anything, kill anything when I want to. I don't have that ability as infantry.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have to sludge through the game and then convince myself that I'm having fun at a lot of these fights, right? Or try to,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've been able to navigate these scenarios that most new players can't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you
And
put
then
in
you
the
talk about
time
getting
and
into the
you've
air
worked
game.
on
Yeah.
your own skills, and you've
But
set your
but
own
you see
goals.
that's the new player experience, man.
Yeah.
You are showing the trailer, you're showing this combined arms that I described to you, which
Mm-hmm.
sounds amazing. And when it works, it does work. It is okay. I don't have an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
But without some restrictions and assets and management of resources, it and the way that the community actually interacts with it, you don't get what we're essentially promised. Or the way that we're showing this in the reality is this, right? Expectation versus reality.
Yeah. That's a good point. Hey, what calls to my mind is the ancient wisdom that there's no you can't produce content as a game developer faster than your community can consume it. Um, I felt like there was a short time after Bastions came out where the game kind of felt a little bit wild like that again for a short time, where it's like people were trying stuff. You didn't know what was going to work. You know, are we just are we gonna ball up it with a bunch of repair galaxies to try to protect this thing? Or are we just gonna fly a bunch of fighters at them? Like what? How do we deal with this? Do we need should we be shooting for it? Like, do we want to pull a bastion? When do we want to pull it? Like all these questions like weren't figured out. And Opshax in the chat just made a great comment relating to this, saying the game used to seem like it had more combined arms when more people didn't know how to play and they replicated the trailer. Yeah, like the community over time will figure out what the best ways to play are, and people who are coming into that community copy those examples. And so what you see is those what seems like degenerate combined arms interactions, because those are actually the interactions that won the test of community usefulness. Not these crazy back and forth tanks and air and infantry and everything, because that is what you see in a game where the guys in the tanks are pursuing an idea of a tank column that doesn't actually work but seems cool. And the infantry players are out in the field for some reason, right? What are you doing
Right.
there? Why are you held out behind that
Right.
tree? You're no use to anyone there. But it's part of that vision. And I remember when I first played Planetside 1, that was what pulled me in too. The first time I played Planetside 1, I spawned in a reinforced exosuit, which is the heavy assault equivalent in Planetside 1, at a tower on Amarish. And I came out of the tower and crested this hill, and there were fucking reavers flying overhead, and there was tank fire in the distance, and there was just like this line of infantry at the top of this hillside, nowhere near a base, right? In Planetside 1, towers were close to bases, but this was a defensive tower. We were pushing towards a base that was, not even anywhere close. The fight made no sense. And it would never occur in later day Planetside 1. And I wonder if the only way to create that kind of chaos, the enjoyable chaos, is to shake things up regularly enough so that the periods of we have all the answers, we know what's best, and we're only going to do what's best, are not as oppressive.
Well, two things here. Great point. I didn't even think about it like that. And then these new players, OP Chacks was talking about, and then you kind of picked up on, right? And these new
Mhm.
players come in, they see the trailers, how I want to play the game, and we all kind of like that. Thing number one, redeploy side. I love it,
Okay.
but that broke the kind of build up. They capped the base. I can't redeploy to the fight over here. We're going to continue down this last line, and then the defense kind of builds up, or they kind of regroup back at the new base, and they prep for this onslaught, right? I love the idea of a tug of war back and forth. I don't want to go in, slaughter 400 people, cap the point, move on to the next bit. I like, okay, Lex is here. He kills me 2 times. I kill him 2 times. I'm like, okay, let me sit up in my seat real quick. Okay, we got a challenge here.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Farming is just the nature of what becomes of the game as it is, right? It's fun to do, but I also like competition.
Yeah.
Or Leroy or Zyros is there. It's like, okay, and I recognize his
It motivates
cosmetics,
you.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. He
Mhm.
V6 me. I'm like, okay, bitch, I got you, dog. You know, and again, I like redeploy side. And I remember when it came out, I was still part of VC on the Zerg fit, right?
Okay.
It was cool because we were able to, redeploy and fight over pop and do the best that we could to manage it. Um, but it took away that kind of combined arms buildup, I felt like.
Mhm.
And maybe it's the best thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. But you kind of lost that, like, okay, we're going to just, everyone's going to mad push to the next base. And like, there's, infantry on the ground and they kind of meet us halfway. And now we're in the middle of this, fight, we lose our Sunderer, now we don't have response, they push through, and now they're attacking the base we just took, and like you have this back and forth open field fights. That's why TE doesn't want to come back. I mean, TE's cancer anyway, but I mean, they made the game fun in some ways, as a Zerg fit. But they don't want to come back because of redeploy side. Like it just it made things feel kind of whatever, right? And then
It makes territory feel
well,
less meaningful, right?
right. And you don't have that kind of natural progression. It's like, okay, where's the next fight? Where's the next fight? We're redeployed.
Mhm.
And then people used to redeploy to the next base and like, okay, here it comes. And it's like, oh, they're gone. Nope, they're not coming. It's been 5 minutes. So that's
Yeah.
really shaking things up, right? And the other
Mhm.
thing I think is shaking things up is like we have to bring in this new stuff. New stuff. What do we not have? A fleet carrier,
Right.
an orbital strike. Well, guess what? When you have a bunch of vehicles and infantry and 400 players, even if you did have them pushing forward, you orbital strike it. Okay, they're gone. Well, I guess that fight's over.
Mhm.
Keeping things simple and like a tug of war mentality of back and forth, but not too stagnant is not a bad thing, I don't think, to have, right? So, but Bastion comes over, okay, the end of the Colossus thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just pounding the shit out of the ground and it just fucking kills everything.
Mhm.
We saw the KPM coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
It's insane. But you're taking these domains and the bad interaction that we got from A to G, from the tank on the hill or the overpop, has now been trumped almost by an orbital strike, right? And you can get
Mhm.
away from them or hide under an overhang and dodge them, but they do disrupt the flow,
Definitely.
especially in open field fights on TI alloys, the north side. There's not a lot of cover there. Orbital strike comes down, you probably delete it, okay?
Mhm.
Um, or people just don't know how to escape those, right? And then you have the Bastion as well. Like these things overwhelm the things that were overwhelming the infantry from the
Yeah.
start. The
They're
infantry still has
they're
now
community force
new things.
multipliers. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have new things to build upon
Mhm.
that shrink that idea of Planetside combined arms even further. Okay? I'm
Okay.
not saying they're bad things or they don't create hype or people don't enjoy them, but then I see how they interact daily or after they've come out for a while. And
Mhm.
I think, ah, and again, I still love the game. I still enjoy the game. I just, I don't know. It's just something to think about, I guess.
I'm thinking about
And
it.
more so the new player experience. I
Mhm.
can I can read a play from a Bastion. I'm an AOD, but they're telling me, "Hey, you gotta stay at the base. You gotta stay here at the base." It's like, dude, I've died 17 times to the Bastion. You know,
Get on the front line,
I can get a
soldier.
yeah, but I can get away from those things, or I don't go the same route that everyone else goes, and it gets and other players are able to navigate these scenarios, right? But not
Mhm.
everyone does that. Or as a new player, it's like, well, everyone else is going this way. I'm gonna go this way. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
deleted.
Mhm.
What happened? How did I get a Bastion? Can I get that? I gotta start an outfit. I gotta join an outfit. I gotta be a leader in the outfit to get the bat. What? What? Okay. No. You know what? No. Why can't we pull bastions all the time, Deeg? I want to be a bastion main pilot. Why am I restricted from that?
That's a good
Why
question.
why 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 can't I do why can't I call an orbital strike whenever I want?
From what
I
I
want to be
can
a
tell, it seems like you
no,
can.
no, hold on, time out. There are characters that were created only to be in the Bastion. When the Bastion's up, they go in the Bastion. That's their stat line, is the Bastion. So technically,
Interesting.
you could say these players only want to pull Bastions,
I wonder
and why aren't
what the
they allowed to do
KPM
that?
on those characters is. 600
Oh,
KD
it's insane.
character.
I'm just I'm just curious though, because the argument was, I want to be a max player all the time. I should be able to be in the max, or
No, you're right.
I want to
Like,
be an A to G Mozzie.
I want to be a fleet
Where's the
commander.
stop?
So yeah, I mean, well, maybe RPG is aware of this and they're trying to move the needle. You know, they're trying to put stuff out there that you don't get all the time. You can't be in Outfit Wars all the time. You can't orbital strike anytime you want. You can't be in a Bastion whenever you want.
But why not? Is it not good content and good gameplay? Is it?
I think are you what you're
I'm
getting at
memeing
is
here a
that
little bit.
yeah, but this points back again to the idea of scarcity being a good thing. It's good that you can't have a Bastion whenever you want to
Yeah.
because it's not good for the game to have it. And maybe we should take the scale of that expression that Bastions are limited and look at finding a way to take other force multipliers and apply better limits to them as well.
Yeah, and I don't. I'm not saying delete all these things.
Hmm.
I do think it would create a better experience, and I want people to understand that I'm not just trying to be the infantry player. I'm not trying to create a world where it's just infantry, which I think would be great, but that's fine. I'm trying to compromise here, and again, I've been over here. I used to be the Sky Guard Polar in Alpha Squad in WMD back
Hmm.
in the day.
Hmm.
Okay, that was my job. And guess what we had to do? We had to go park over here, away from the fucking base. I had to defend the Sunderer while everyone else was over there enjoying the game. Guess what? Didn't get a lot of action. Okay. I've done a lot of different things in the game. I've not been this player that came from Quake or whatever. Whatever
Yeah.
boomer game was popular, and I was already a Team Dunk Tomahawker, and now I'm here in Planetside. I'm gonna do the same thing, and
Uh
maybe
huh.
we've gotten closer to that now. But we do have a history. We do understand, and I've gravitated what I thought was more and more fun, and it's been the infantry. That's all.
Word. I think it's legit, and I think that this is the reason I needed to talk to you is I heard a lot of this stuff listening to yours and Shoctor's podcast. Like
Thanks, man.
there that people who want the game to be more to be more intact in this way, to hang together better, who to have more legitimate kind of competitive interactions, aren't trying to, in my experience, they're much like you. They don't want to try to say the way I like to play the game should win because I'm selfish and I want the game to look like the way I want to play it. What they're trying to say is I like certain parts of this game. I see what other people like about it. I think we can improve it for everybody. And a lot of time that means putting friction in certain places where there is not very much. I think you're
Because the
right.
last thing I want from myself and new players is to go, oh, Bastion's at that fight, nope. Overstrike's there, nope. Oh, there's 90% overpop that fight, nope. And then like I'm just turned away from the game. You're
Yeah.
turning me away from the game. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find something,
Yeah.
and that's part of the reason I started streaming. When there's no fights or the fights are shit, I can either meme, pull a bolt, suck at it really bad, or I was like, okay, let's talk to chat. Let's pull up a
Yeah.
YouTube video and we'll watch. You know what I mean? Like I can.
Still be
That's what
part
I
of the
meant by
community
distract
without
myself
having a
from
good
the
fight.
game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful adding more things that turn me to like, where's the next fight? Where's the next fight? And there's not one sometimes, and it's kind of like,
Mhm.
ugh. And sometimes I get tired of just putting the team on my back and going to these overpop fights and trying to do the best that I can.
Yeah.
People are like, Aeflic, long time viewer, first time chatter here, and I noticed you weren't on the A point. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? I got close, but I can't, like I
We need
tried.
your golden anchor. Hey,
Like,
like where are you,
why,
man?
why weren't you playing the objectives? It's like I couldn't even get to the objective, bro. Like, relax. I'm trying. I enjoy flipping the point back. Okay, and to do that, you have to kill players, so it like works out in my favor. The
Yeah.
fight lasts longer. I can defend the base for my faction, and like I do like some of those things. I'm not just trying to rack up all these kills.
People are trying to trap you, probably. trying to
Oh yeah.
catch you out and seemingly being hypocritical, that talking about how you want a good combined arms game that's friendly for new players, but then not playing the objective like a selfish player. But I don't know. It's pretty clear to me that you're not a selfish player, and I think most of the people who want that kind of vision for the game aren't either. And I think that it needs to be talked about, and that's why I'm really pleased and have enjoyed very much watching the new podcast you've been doing with Shoctorr. You want to talk about that for a little
Thanks, man.
bit?
Yeah, sure. What do you do you want me to run with it? Or you have something that
Tell us
you
about it.
want to direct on?
What is it, and how did it come to be?
You know, so like I don't know. I think I got into streaming because people are like, you should stream. I
Mm-hmm.
think it'd be interesting. And because I'm competitive, I'm very hesitant to do things. Part of it is an excuse, like, oh, I'm not going to interview for this position because if I don't get it, like, I'll never interview again. Like at my old work, they're like, well, sometimes you, like, you have to interview twice. It's like, dude, no, I'm number one here at the company. Like, I am naturally progressing down this route, or number five, whatever. Okay, I'm not trying to hype myself
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I'm good. I do really good work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if someone's been here for 20 years and they suck at their job. They don't. They should not. Like my whole point is like, see my value, take me. Don't
Yeah.
force me to like interview and then we're gonna reject you, but the next time we'll take. Like no, just you know what I mean. Um, so I didn't want to like stream or something and like essentially like fail at it or not be worth my time. Okay, I didn't want to like invest or like I'm gonna buy the mic, I'm gonna buy the cam, I'm gonna get the green screen, I'm gonna do all these things. It's like we have one viewer. Like I feel like a failure, right? I feel like I've done all right in regards to streaming for Planetside, so I've been
Mm-hmm.
content with that.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that's nervous or we don't want to be embarrassed and like suck, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I Anchors, who does the editing for the podcast and does editing for he was like going to do some like highlight videos on my Twitch for me. I was like, okay, then we can do YouTube and like you were kind of talking about like expanding onto other platforms.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what if Planetside 2 does actually die? We've been talking about it for so long. Like, what else do I do? Am I
Mm-hmm.
even interested enough to carry on to something else? And like a lot of the time, I don't like streaming other games. I'm sure Lex will say I'm garbage at anything besides Planetside. But it's just nice to take a break from it. It is kind of like work sometimes to do all of it, right? To prep
Yeah.
for it, to
Yeah.
interact with the community. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
taxing sometimes, or it's just toxic, whatever. So I just like to chill and hang out with my other friends from other games and do
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But um, I'm like, okay, I'll branch out into YouTube a little bit, and we can, maybe I can learn how to edit or something. Anchors can help me out, or maybe this is the way to get because YouTube has a lot more Planetside 2 following. I mean,
Yes.
Commander Sirius is a good example of that. Okay, regardless of how you feel about him, and just people in general that we're talking to.
Yeah. As a big,
And
like a lot of people
ultimately,
who are Planet Side curious, even if they're not actively
his
playing the game.
videos, correct, but his videos are in a way informative for a new player. You can't have the infantry elite toxicity or hardcore gung ho for everything, right?
Yeah.
It's not good. I would not probably have gone to PlanetSide if that had been the original of it. I was overwhelmed with what PlanetSide was, and that was a good thing. Zerg fits all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his videos for the most part, I think, are good. I know we don't always agree on everything, so that's fine. But I mean, you can have tens of thousands of followers on YouTube, and that's much different than PlanetSide, right? Especially if you're newer to it or whatnot. So there's other people that do that too, even though they might be crazy or whatnot. So or just we might have disagreements. So I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll blossom out to YouTube, see if it catches at all. And then
Mm-hmm.
Shocker was like, we should do a podcast or something. We were watching I can't remember how we got it, and I was like, dude, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I've always struggled, like, oh, I need to go visit my parents in Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to go visit my friend here. I need to go do this, and it's like you just say it and then you never do it. I was like,
Yep.
fuck it,
You and me both,
let's
man.
just fucking do it, Like I
Yeah.
almost didn't come on your podcast. I was like, oh man, like I don't know, how's it gonna be taken? And I was like, no, fuck it, let's just fucking do it. You asked me, let's just fucking do this podcast and let's get it done, and let's have a
Nice.
good time doing it. So, I've taken that approach, and I was like, let's fucking do it with YouTube, and with the podcast, and I've learned that it's just a lot of fun to sometimes gaming is just so like general or very surface level it feels like.
Yeah.
And doing something like a podcast where you're actually investing with somebody else can be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy Shoctorr a lot. He's a lot. I'm a lot, but he's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a fun interaction that I get. And then eventually having people come onto the podcast and interviewing them, and I think there's interesting people that you can have out there on a podcast, even on Planetside. Like, I think it'd be fun to have Lex on there, man. He does have a good idea. He's just very intense. I feel like that's a turn off for a lot of people. But having Rel on there, and you had him on yours, but I think like there's very different questions that I would ask than you, and
Totally.
that's okay. But I see like like what we need to ask these. We have not had answers this entire time
Hmm.
for some of these things, and I'm not trying to. I think I have a good relationship with Rel. I don't hate the guy. We disagree on a lot of things, but I want
He
to
thinks you're an
know.
okay dude. He's on record.
That's true. That is true. He did make me a gold anchor, so I'm kind of stuck here.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to know, like, we've talked about Max revamp, we're redoing. Like, what are we? Is that never like where are we at? Just give us like. I just want to ask some hard hitting questions that like I feel like
Hmm.
the community has asked for a long time. Where are we at with this bug, or and maybe he says I can't talk about whatever. I just want a different perspective on it, and I think the podcast allows me to go down whatever path I want to go down, or
Hmm.
whatever path Shoctorr wants to go down,
Hmm.
and I think we have a good balance of not completely turning people away by completely shoving our elite infantry or whatever whatever you want, or being too mean or too toxic towards people, so you don't scare everyone off. Some people like that, and there's a niche for it, but I think we have a small slice of a already very small cake that we can take apart, and potentially we're kind of testing it out, because if it doesn't pop off, then we got to give it time. But if it doesn't pop off, it's okay, we'll back off of it, and maybe I just stream or whatever. So long-winded answer to your question, but that's why I got into the podcast.
That's cool.
And I didn't realize how fun it would be.
Yeah.
And I was like, the very first one, I was like, I gotta prepare. I'm like reading through our points.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
like this like thing, right? I'm like, okay,
Sure.
do I even know how to talk about this? Like as a test or something. And then obviously we went through and it's like, okay, this is not a big deal
And
at
then you're
all. And
live, and
then
it's like, oh, yeah.
yeah, and now we have no points. We're like, okay, what do you want to talk about on Thursday? And we want to talk about this, okay? And then we go,
Yeah. Hell
and it
yeah.
works, and it's fun. So it's like even less work. There's no
Mhm.
prep for it. Because again, I have a lot going on, man. With the family, 13-month old. It's just like I can't take away too much from that. It's why I stay up late,
Yeah.
right? He goes to bed early. Zoe likes to go to bed earlier than me, so I spend time with them. They go to sleep in the night, stay up late, and I burn the candle on both ends, and that is what it is. That's why I drink a lot of coffee. But I
Mhm.
want to fit in these things without being like, oh hey, sorry, I'm going to do this podcast, or hey, I'm sorry, I'm streaming.
Yeah.
And I never want to do that, or turn my son down, or turn my wife down. So um, it's been tough though, because there's been scenarios. I'm just going off the dome here, man. Sorry, we're getting
It's all good.
off topic, but
What kind of
there's been
scenarios?
times where I'm like, hey Zoe, you cool if I do a scrim on Thursday or on Saturday at 1 p.m.? Yeah, it's fine. We have nothing planned.
Hmm.
Oh hey, our best friends want to get together and go to this bar, and it's like, I told you that. She's like, your internet friends? Like, I'm like, they're not robots. Other people probably have canceled even, but like, my thing is like, if I'm going to sacrifice events or things that I want to do or not be able to go, or I'm gonna commit to something or commit to somebody else, and this is my loyalty, thing that I talked about.
Yeah.
I feel an obligation to be there, a commitment to be there. And if I don't show up, maybe the scream doesn't happen. It's canceled. There's 11 other people counting on me, and it's
Hmm.
like they're actually people like me. Like, they're not robots, they're not NPCs. And that's very difficult for me to do. Even if I want to hang out with my friends more than go to the scrim, I feel I have to go there,
Hmm.
almost to a fault. We definitely butted heads on that,
I
but
think.
which is probably a reason that I'm not in pill.
Mm.
I was like, and there's other things there
Too much
too,
of an
but I was
impact on
like,
your time.
it's like I don't want to commit to the team and be a carry potentially, even though I've been a little washed up. Hard to say.
Okay.
Um, but I don't want to have a commitment to where I'm a starter and then I miss 50% of the matches because I have stuff
Right.
going on. It's like, is
Right.
that even fair to the team? Probably not. And so it's like, and then I don't have to worry about the stress of like um, being in a tournament setting, and it's like he wakes up, I need to go take care of him, right?
Yeah, that's rough.
I let the team down. We lose because of that or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on Twitch, it's like he woke up from a nap. Zoe and her mom were walking, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be AFK for a little bit, guys, until they come back from the walk, and took care of
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
So I can do that on the stream and when I'm on live or whatnot. So um, Yeah, I don't know where the hell that came from, but that's the end of that topic that we
Mhm.
got down on. So, or
Oh,
we can,
no. You were you were
expand on that.
you were talking about just managing the gaming life balance. It's an interesting topic too. I take it Zoe, your wife, is not a gamer?
Mm-mm. Grew up hunting, fishing,
Cool.
smaller, not kind of city. I'm more from like the city. My dad, he, like loves stereo. Like, you know, when the computers first came out, he's like taking them apart. Like, oh, it's just this is all there is in there. I'm like, dude, that's a lot.
Mhm.
Builds his own computers. Like that's what we grew up on, right? So that's
Yeah,
our
yeah.
nature, and so
Yeah.
it's a very. And then guy girl is
Culture
already
clash,
in the
yeah.
in the gaming world is, and more girls are gaming and whatnot, but it's already kind of like established. Like
Yeah.
it's a little weird. So, yeah, no, that's definitely been an interesting
I'll bet.
influx
Yeah,
for sure, and
the
it's
thing
something that I've learned I need to balance. Hence why I do stuff at late at night or during the day when I'm working.
yeah. Yeah, I can resonate with that too. I haven't tried the whole being a dad thing yet, but even just managing, my wife Brianna's expectations. Uh,
Yeah,
there are
and my thing
moments.
is, I said, look, you know, at the end of the day, you guys can count on me. I will be there if we're gonna do something. You want to do something, like you guys come first no matter what. And
Mhm.
I've always, besides like a scrim or a tournament or something, I've always, and even then, obviously, if it's important, I'm gonna miss gaming, right?
Yeah.
I was like, "If you ever need me, like, I'm not gonna be the guy that's like, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes." It's like, no, you need me to get the groceries because you're home. Boom, I'm there. I'm gonna, we're not gonna have as much. We're gonna get rid of the conflict as much as possible,
Okay.
regards to it. And she's really embraced it. And we've definitely butted heads on that. Um, Especially now that we have a kid. Like, I can't, like I said, I can't just go out with my friends. I can't just go to the bar. Like, I can't participate in flag football anymore because of my concussion. Like,
Yeah, you gotta make
I feel like I'm
sacrifices. Mhm.
yeah, and so it's like where if I'm gonna be home, like, and everyone's sleeping, like, okay, like what, let's
What can you do? Stream,
yeah,
do a
you
podcast.
know, yeah, it's like understanding that these things are not weird, they're okay.
Yeah,
Everyone's doing it, and there
definitely.
does need to be some limitations. She's like, I don't want you to be addicted. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like
Addiction,
anything.
man.
But, well, it's
I
like
don't
if you don't understand it, it can be scary, right?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. I've been through, um, similar experiences, like, my own wife, when we first met, I think she thought games were the devil, more or less, gaming. Didn't have any positive interactions with them. Her family always thought they were bad. And then I actually got her to play. I mentioned Guild Wars 2. The reason I played that game is because she expressed an interest in it, and we played it together for like a year. And then that kind of cured her of the anti gaming bias. She doesn't really play games anymore, but it gave her an understanding of what I do and what I like about it. Um, that was cool. That was cool. But yeah, even now, it's not always easy to properly weigh the value of different kinds of priorities, right? So for me, when I schedule a podcast, I treat it a lot like I'm going to be performing on stage,
Hmm.
and it takes
As you should, you have to.
preparation. That time has to be protected, and there'll be times where I have to be like, hey, like I set this time aside for this. I can't just squeeze more things in. I can't just not do my prep. I can't just be late. That's not the way this works.
Or you
Um,
can't just cancel it because there are people that are relying on you, or even if it's just the other person, like me, for instance.
yeah,
You're like, hey, sorry, last minute, can't do it, and that's a kind of a fear. I told you, like, I might not be able to do this, because I know you. This is your podcast. What if
yeah.
I miss it or Liam? Like, I was a little
Yeah, that was one of the things that
hesitant
you
to
brought
commit
up
to it.
initially is, well, what if I have to go deal with my child? And I said, just do it. Like
Appreciate
we'll
that.
we'll watch him. The stream will watch him. Like it's fine. That's life. And it's the lockdown is definitely, I think, changing the way people see games and streaming especially. Um I but I definitely think that there's like a generational bias against this that's going to be gone when the generation that grew up on Fortnite are suddenly middle managers. I think once we get there, we're we're not going to have this kind of general phenomenon of being like your internet friends. What?
Yeah. Well, it's a tale as old as time, man.
Yeah.
Oh, rock music. You're listening to rock music. My child's listening. That's the devil. Rap music. But then
Dungeons and
they were listening.
Dragons.
But the person that was listening to rock music that was getting, shitted on for it, now shitting on the person, and then now it's mumble rap. It's the same thing. It's like
Yeah.
you're watching Kim Kardashian on the TV,
Yeah.
and I'm playing video games.
It's not
It's the same
evil.
thing.
You're just
It's
old.
it's the same thing. Yeah, it's just different. But but bringing that kind of concept around, and we talked about this earlier.
Hmm.
Moderation for me is difficult.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just gaming. Like even just it's everything. I'm so extreme. I just dive right in,
How do you deal
100%,
with that? How do
150.
you moderate that?
Right, and I'm thinking like, okay, I gotta be on my like. I usually take weekends off unless it's nights, unless if we're doing not doing something. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna. I'm like, okay, I don't need to be on at noon streaming Planetside too.
Right.
Okay, I can cut
Right.
that out. That makes sense. Like I think I had to explain that to her. Like I'm just a little crazy about whatever it is I'm doing. It's not necessarily gaming.
Sure.
It's just like you give me all the Oreos in the box, I'm going to eat them. When I went to college for the first time, I was like, holy shit, I can have 8 of these, not just 4. I can have the whole box.
Have
And I
two.
will
Two
eat the whole
boxes.
box, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll be sick after every time. I don't care. I have I so like yeah, I struggle with moderation, man. That's why I don't keep alcohol for the most part, like beer in the house. Like
Yeah.
um
You guys had a lot
not
alike
because
in that
but
respect. That's really
yeah, not
interesting.
because I'm an alcoholic. It's fun. I could literally go out every night to a bar with friends and like enjoy myself, right? And I
Yeah.
love feeding off of people in that energy, but like I gotta have moderation. So um yeah, I don't know. That's something we've had to expand upon. It's not game. It's not I'm addicted to game. It's just like, okay, if I can't go out, well, I'm just gonna do this thing, and then I take it too far though for
Hmm.
sure. Um, but it's been a I guess a learning experience for myself personally, and then also for the relationship. So
Right. Right. Yeah. You got to work on yourself without it torpedoing the relationship. I definitely respect
yeah,
that.
but then it's also something that's like you can't stream for 20 minutes,
No, there's no point.
and it's sometimes it's hard though because I feel like 2 hours is probably my perfect,
Hmm.
especially with work. Like I did like 4 hours somehow. Like I look over and like nothing on my email. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I'll just keep going. My thing is, like,
Email
I
in
have
four
to be here.
hours. Wow, that
So
sounds like paradise.
I have two monitors right here, and I have two monitors right here, and I have a laptop right here. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it works here on my left, and then whatever a YouTube video, whatever. Um, my thing is, I do technically have to be here. I can't go 2 hours south of town and go do whatever. Like I need to be available, right? If
Right.
something were to blow up, because
Sure.
I do deal with like kind of like high priority. Like I mean, if there's a death or something, we need to get people out there, and we need to like do these certain things.
Okay.
So I'm available for it, right? But if there's nothing to do, then I can do this. But also, like maybe I mow the yard sometimes, but that's kind of risky because I'm gonna be out there for like an hour and a half. I don't know what's going on in here,
Yeah.
so I try to limit those things. It's like I do need to be at my desk, but I can stream and then okay, I can handle this thing real quick, and then boom, 5 minutes later I'm back here. So
Hmm.
that's a nice balance because I have to be here, but I don't want to be like stuck. Like like what am I gonna do?
Hmm.
Because when we were in the office and I had to get done like at 9:30 in the morning,
That's hell.
and I'm like, and everyone else is kind of busy, and like I get stuff throughout the day, but you'd knock it out 20 minutes, and then like you're back to like, I literally was like, dude, I got like bought an Apple Watch. I just walked around the office, try to get as many steps as possible, and like just do. I hate cardio. I was like, I'll just do cardio in the office every day because I'm bored out of my mind. I just talk to people like, so like being remote has been like godsend. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I stream. I was like, I might as well do something on the side.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
best of time. Like I
Use
watch
the
a lot of
time.
StarCraft, but it's not always on. Yeah. So it works
StarCraft.
out. It's nice. It's a nice thing. But you can't stream for 20 minutes. I think 2 hours is the minimum. A lot of times, like I'm just peaking.
Right.
I gotta shut down the stream, man. It's like, damn, bro. Oh, 50 viewers? Damn. Like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. And you
You
spread the
know?
love.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's
Hmm.
what it's about too. It's like taking it for what it is. Like, I'm not gonna have 2,000 subs, bro. Okay.
Hmm.
Not gonna quit my job for this. Um,
If you could, would you?
which someone asked me that. What would it take? I said $80,000 a year on Twitch.
Yep. Hmm.
But then I think about it. I think, okay, let's say Planetside hype.
Yep.
I make 80,000 next year. Okay.
Hmm. Streaming.
The campaign is amazing.
Okay.
I don't think I quit my job, man, because it's what if Planetside dies.
Yep. Well.
Okay, and I transition to Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, whatever's popular, and it's like
Hmm.
you will take that hit, or maybe I start to become a variety streamer in the meantime when Planetside 2 is still hot.
Yes.
But the thing is, it has a shelf life, man. Which is why I don't want to be greedy, but you would need to make so much money that you could, because you need to get, you need to have investments, you need to have health insurance, like things that, a normal job provides to you,
Yeah, no
or,
benefits.
career,
Yep.
um, your future, etc. Like you need to build that in. So you need to make so much more than you already making at your current job, right?
Right.
Um, and then you need to make so much more that, like, if it died 2 years from now, you'd have some time to find a new job
To
and to
figure a
fall
new
back on
thing.
that.
Yeah,
So it's scary to think about.
or you have to really quickly diversify what you're doing to make
Right.
to make it so that you're resistant to any individual thing you're doing dying. Um, being
I'm
a
curious what the
personality.
stats are. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask what you were curious about what the stats were, but I was just going to say that I think that the model of making your living by streaming on Twitch is kind of going away, and people are looking for, being on Twitch, being on YouTube, being on Patreon's a great place to be. People who do this kind of stuff and have a loyal following. You're not reliant on any platform. Some people
True.
just go straight to PayPal donations. You can do that too. Like there's all kinds of ways to make it. Um,
And it is a way to, okay, Twitch is the small amount over here, but if I can,
yeah.
without doing like let's say you do 8 hours of Twitch and you get X amount, it's too small,
Hmm.
but you don't need to do 8 hours on YouTube, but you upload a couple of videos and maybe it takes you 2 hours. I don't. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not the editor, so I don't know. But you don't have to put. You're not doing 8 hours here, 8 hours here, 8 hours here.
Hmm.
But you do 2 hours here, or maybe do 6 hours streaming and 2 hours on
Yeah.
YouTube. But you can get another little pocket thing over here, and then you do the Patreon, get another little pocket. Like, and you
Hmm.
can kind of combine these things to make
And they
your
all
time more
multiply each
worth it.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that is the way to go. But it's something that's just very interesting because it's like I do have a family, so it's like stable income is important,
Yes. I wish
which
I
is why it
stumbled
feels the
into
way.
this before, when I was just doing the bachelor thing, just to really
Yeah.
try
Oh yeah.
doing it full time, what
Yeah,
it would be
for sure,
like.
for sure. Especially
You
when
know,
Planetside was more popular. You never know. I mean,
yeah.
not. I mean, let's be realistic, but
But I'm in the
still.
same spot as you are. Like replacing my income on content creation seems very close to impossible. I work in tech. I do
Yeah,
fine, and as much as I'm not passionate about my job every day, I do things that I like and that I'm good at and that I'm incentivized to do. So
right.
that's great. That's already way better than most people get, I think, with their work. Um, and to me, like I kind of feel like you and I are almost of a similar vein here, where you turn on the stream because you still wanted to be involved in Planetside, but Planetside was letting you down a little bit, and so you're like, well, what else can I do to make this more interesting? And you still want to do your job, get paid, but it doesn't take all your time, and you want to use that time in a way that's useful and interesting to you. And for me, um, it was about turning my fascination with games and communities into something that actually went somewhere and that actually built on something and could create a community. Because as much as I love just playing video games, um, for me, and I'm not like I'm never gonna grind 100,000 anchor kills. I'll tell you what, I ain't that
Yeah, no,
guy.
most people aren't. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
fair.
mean, yeah, but I think about all the kinds of amazing things that have happened and awesome experiences that have been powered by gaming as a platform. Not necessarily as the point of it, but as like the starting point. And gaming as a hobby is only going to get bigger as time goes on. It is the artistic medium of the 21st century, without a doubt. And streaming it and playing them is never going to be any smaller than it is today. So, like,
Yeah, it's very accessible.
I kind of feel like we're at the bleeding edge of where things are going of a new art form. I find that really exciting, and I think that no one knows what the fuck they're doing, and that's what makes these conversations really worth having.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I, man, I had a point I wanted to piggyback off of that. And that was again, I don't know why I don't have a notepad or something, or not using my WordPad on my computer,
It'll
but
come back. It came back last time.
um. Well, the other thing I wanted to say is, like, again, with my extreme personality for things, it's like, okay, like I need to be growing my Twitch at this rate and doing this and this. Is like, dude,
Yeah.
Relax. It's Planetside too. We're sharing viewers with, 3 other good infantry players or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like really.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I can give back to the community in ways. It's like, okay, if it kills me, finally, I'm somehow, after 3 months, I see him on Twitch. It's like, who is this guy? Oh, he's not okay. He's not so bad. He's some new guy asked him something in chat. He wasn't toxic. He helped him out. Okay, so like I can give back to the community and not just kill players. I can like, hey man, this is what you should be using, or these are different things you can do, or um,
Yep.
just be a semi good person and help people out. And I just want to interact with the community in general because I like these people. I've been around these people for 8 years or
Yeah.
5 years or two
Yeah.
years, depending on the relationship. And it's just fun when they stop by, especially the Euros. I don't go plant Connor. I don't go plant Miller.
Mhm.
I met these people through Pill or Eurodome or whatnot. And it's nice when like, Nikki G stops by and it's been 3 months. Like, oh, hey man, like how you like
Mhm.
genuinely like how are you doing? I'm not fishing for money because I got to be realistic sometimes I too, and it's like more about the community and helping people. Like, dude, relax. You don't need to be extremist in this one. Let it go. You don't need to be building the Twitch. Just have fun with it
I see.
for what it is
So
and
so
interact
so
with the
Twitch for
community.
you is not one of those really competitive things you're doing.
Like, I still treat it like that because
Yeah.
like I have to, but I'm also like aware of like the limitations
Right.
and I don't need to sink all this time into it because I need to be realistic
Yeah.
of my surrounding, like, and because it was bleeding over into like, hey, like, let's go. It's like, okay, like, well, I'm doing this. It's like, you do that this other 6 days of the week. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're right. Okay, let me chill out. Let me
I
what
know
I'm saying?
it.
I'm not bringing home 10 grand. That's a
Right.
different story. And then maybe you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay, let's chill out. Let's balance work, life, gaming, streaming, all of it. Let's just balance it out and like let's just have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, that's what I need to do
Mhm.
with it, right? Is not to take it too seriously. I mean, I don't. I also do, but I have to be realistic. As what I'm trying to
Seriously,
say.
enough. Seriously enough.
Yeah,
That's one of the kind of taglines I set forth for my community is we're here to have fun taking games seriously.
yeah. There
Like
you go.
you have to take it seriously enough, but not too seriously.
Right. Again, it goes back to my point of like, you can't just invest in $5,000 PC and a mic and a cam and a green screen and doing all these things. And
Mhm.
it's like, no one's watching it, bro. I was like,
And you don't
be
need to.
realistic for what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and but that's not what draws people, right?
Right.
Oh, Aeflic's wall's bare. I know. It's been bare this whole
It's a
time.
good
This is the
meme.
last room that's getting updated. It's so plain. It's funny when like Shoctorr on the podcast, he
Yeah.
has like the artwork, the
Yeah, it's got a
guitars,
guitar.
everything, the
Yeah,
mic,
yeah.
and I'm just like,
I'm
man, that suck, dude. That suck. And
I'm
the
just here
mic's
in my
always like it
in
sounds like
my
a like an
warehouse,
echo.
just chilling.
Yeah. So it's just funny, man. It's funny. So
Good shit. Good shit.
I enjoy it though. It's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be, just like the podcast.
Cool, man.
It's
Well,
a way to connect with people.
I'm super glad you came on mine. This has been a fun conversation. We've been at this way longer, and it's been awesome every minute. But
Well, thanks, man.
it's I think that we're getting to a good point where maybe we can put a pin in this for the night.
I'm cool with that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks for everyone who got this far in the podcast. Those who watching live, big ups. And why don't we do an outro? I'll start, and then you can let people know where to find you. So for me, um, y'all know me, you see me. I'm Deeg. My thing is Basement Side. It's a podcast. I talk to gamers for a long time, and we have, I hope, incredibly interesting and at times deep conversations. This will be on YouTube later, and also run Spotify. And I stream games from time to time. So that's me. What about you, Aeflic? Where can folks find you? What are you working on?
Just Twitch.tv, whatever it is. Aeflic, Aeflic. Super easy. Same thing on YouTube. Or just type in Aeflic on YouTube and you can find me. I have an anchor there too, unfortunately,
You
as
got to
my
change it
image.
to a buzzsaw.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'll just keep it simple and short. And then obviously my partner Shoctorr on the podcast. Um, then he's Shoctorr on Twitch. Actually, is he Shoctorr Doles or Shoctorr?
I never know how to spell that.
But you can find him on actually my YouTube, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's my boy. Yeah, we just put out. We're starting with Planetside 2 content. I think we're going to even branch out a little bit more from Planetside 2 on this
Good.
next podcast. And just to diversify the podcast, because if for some reason Planetside 2 dies, or in Shoctor's case, loses a little bit of interest,
Right.
we can still continue on. Because I don't want to lose him as a partner, because he's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I
But
saw
yeah,
him on stream the other day. He was rapping on stream. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It was
yeah,
awesome.
he's a little bit of an artist, man. He comes up with
Yeah,
music
I
actually, so
I did not know that.
he's a good guy. He's a crazy guy, but he's a good guy.
Yeah, seems legit.
But
Shout
yeah,
out to Shoctorr. And thanks
yes,
again to you, Aeflic,
yes, thank you, thank you.
twitch.tv/Aeflic. And thanks to everyone listening. I'm Deeg. This has been Basement Side Chat, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, y'all.